money.
And Joey Logano, the pole sitter, is with us and the defending champion. How about, by the way, other than you, right? If you were a Santa, who's the driver to beat? Can you give us one or two today?
There's a few. The Hendrick Chevys did look pretty decent. We got to look out for them a little bit. But I think the Mustangs are probably a little faster as usual today. And the Pennzoil one looks good. Blaney looks good as well. The two don't look bad either. So we're in good shape. You know I'm going to pick those ones anyways, but I feel like we're in good shape.
Yeah, but you are always fast here. You're really good here. What is it? What is it about this track?
It takes a little bit of everything, right? There's never one thing. Yeah, you're right. The loud pedal is definitely what it takes for sure. It takes big power, takes good aerodynamics for sure, and getting the platform of the car right. But you got those big bumps you got to get over too. So trying to get everything working together is challenging, and strategy can be a big play today as well.
Man, I think that's a strategy. You've already fixed one problem, right? Starting up front, keeping them in the rear view mirror. How do you do that? Do you block? Blocking's going to be a little bit of a name of the game here, right?
Yeah, I mean, securing the clean air is big, right?
Yeah.
And so trying to stay up there, the first pit stall will help that as well. I do think there's 5 or 6 cars that are under a blanket that are all really solid. We've proven to have some good short run speed in the beginning of practice and in qualifying, so that should help us stay up there, hopefully to start, and hopefully we got good balance at the long haul. That's a big piece.
Where's this race won and lost? Is it strategy? Is it pure outspeed? Is it being able to get over the bumps? Is it dealing with the wind? Where's it won and lost today?
It's going to be in the details, for sure. It's going to definitely be in the details. Like I said, there's 6 cars that are all the same speed. How are you going to pass them? It's going to be the details. Restart, strategy, pit road. That's going to be the difference.
You don't have to pass them.
That's right.
You don't have to pass
I'm gonna stay in front of them,
anybody.
right?
You just
I got
stand
an
right
easy
where you're
job
at.
today.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Easy.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck to you. All right, thanks for coming by as always, Joey Logano. We have we're backstage here. I'll hold that for you until we get the next driver. I think we were talking to Bubba Wallace a moment ago.
Bubba had to go. He's getting interviewed or introduced. It's race time, man. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about all these opportunities. A lot of storylines.
Yeah, bring him down.
These guys are all over the place. You hear him. You hear his you know, where his focus is and trying to keep the pace. You know, pace is such a hard thing. Pace comes with where you're at. Up front, you're running a way better pace than you are mired back in traffic.
I agree. I agree. That I mean, he just, you know.
Speaking of which, you already got interviewed or introduced. You know what that means? What? You need to qualify just a little bit better.
I was scared.
You didn't get.
It scared me.
Scared you?
Scared me just a little bit.
No, but it is nice to
Because you're trying
see.
to go flat out?
I was committed, but until I wasn't.
That baby got up underneath of you, but you gathered it up. You know, that was experience, Myers, and I said it in the booth. Big time experience thing.
Exactly.
Hey,
Or sheer luck.
Oh, sheer luck. You got both. Hey, it's great. You know, Vegas brings people from all over for the race, and I've heard fans talk about, hey, we won it, and they came from a different country, actually. Part of the goodbye tour for Kevin Harvick. They've been great fans. That's from Great Britain, I think they said. And that's kind of a cool thing to see.
It is cool, and I think I've seen them. They've been in the garage, so it's fun to be able to see the fans come to the racetrack, and that's really why we're doing everything that we're doing this year, to try to engage the fans and do what we have to do to not only race on the racetrack, but have a good time outside of the race car.
And this is a good scene, right? I mean, every time you come to the track, but the fans here really, especially the stage and the atmosphere.
It's a great scene for everything but your hair.
you noticed too?
He's fitting right in with the Fox
By the
team.
way,
I
can't wait till you get in the booth. He might have the same issues going on.
I got plenty of resources.
Mine's lack of hair.
We'll ask Joey Logano for help with that. All right,
Have a good day.
All right, thanks. Good luck, Kevin. Thanks for dropping by. All right, let's head back to Shannon.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We're here in the Race Day studios, and Vegas is always the opportunity for our Race Day roulette. America's crew chief Larry McReynolds, Daytona 500 champ Jamie McMurray. Let's spin the roulette wheel, guys, and let's see who it lands on when it lands on a face. You tell me what you're expecting out of them today. I mean, this is always the best part of the show, isn't it? This and Chris Meyer's hair, of course. Tyler Reddick.
Well, when we come to Vegas, you think about luck, and Tyler Reddick has had 0 luck so far this year. Best finish of 34th. He's going to start 34th today because when they got to Las Vegas, they found a problem with his engine, so no practice or
The guy you're going to give him a hug, right? If you were out there, you give him a hug, Tyler Reddick.
Come here and give Larry back the hug.
Who is next on the roulette wheel? Let's talk
Speaking
about
of bad luck, Harrison Burton, his second full season in Cup Series, lap 11 of practice yesterday. He gets in his water out of his race car, had to go to backup car, gonna have to put his work clothes
You
on.
ready to spin, Jamie?
It's already spinning, Shannon. I'm pretty fast
Are you a
at that,
roulette
Shannon.
guy? I don't know.
No roulette for me. I don't gamble,
No,
Shannon.
no gambling.
I do like Alex Bowman today. I think this is a good bet. New crew chief this year with Blake Harris. They finished in the top 10 both at Fontana and at Daytona. They were fast at the Clash. I think they've got it going on. I think they're going to be a threat for the win today.
That's all we got for you guys, the roulette wheel here in the Race Day studios, but we do have more coming up on Race Day. Brexton Bush might be giving his dad Kyle and Kurt a run for their money as Kyle's 7-year-old son gets behind the wheel and lays down a few laps at the Las Vegas bull ring. It says, oh, how cute is that? Yes! We'll be right back.
That rocking chair would look.
NASCAR race ever in Southern California. Kyle Busch is up to 13. Kyle Busch takes the lead. One more that corner. Kyle Busch can coast it home from here. He's back.
I almost got copyrighted there. That was a close one. I really hope I don't get copyrighted for that. Oh, jeez. Well, we'll hope this stream stays up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost time for another NASCAR Cup Series Sunday of action as we have the running of the Pennzoil 400 today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and our pre-race coverage begins right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already, as we are getting set for the start of today's race. Drop of the green flag coming your way in about another half hour or so. We'll get through our late pre-race predictions for the start, and I've got some interesting ones to say the least that we're about to roll off here. Getting the chat up on my phone real quick, and then we will be set to go. I wanted to make sure I started the stream on time for you guys, so I did that, but in doing so, why did I almost get caught? Because there was music playing in the background. Fox was coming back from the commercial break, so I unmuted it, and there was some music playing on that side of it, so Could have gotten copyrighted. Hopefully it wasn't playing long enough. That's the only thing. It took me a minute to realize what was playing. But I think we are going to be good. What happens if the stream will get taken down. Like it'll literally say like this stream has ended or whatever. So yeah, we're not gonna have that happen. I think we'll be all right. And I also won't get paid for it. So that would also be bad. So even if it stays up, I better hope that I get paid. So needless to say, got some predictions to get out. But before that, got to shout you guys out for waiting around very patiently in our pre-race chat. Doran Davis, Billy Kramer, Wade Zielinski, Robert L., Patty Rumdy Creations, Smoky Place, Joseph C3, Evan Stevens, Izia, Earl Arnold Jr., Terry Lewis, Colton Thompson, NASCAR Cup Series 2311 Racing, Dark Crypto, and others. Welcome into the stream. So, yeah, let's get this thing underway. Pre-race, I do not have any sleeper picks for today. I will throw that out there. No sleeper picks. There was one I was very close to... let me check just to make sure. There was one I was really close to putting in. I decided not to do it at all because I felt like one driver wasn't enough. But I do have 3 must-have picks that you should put in your fantasy lineups today. 3 don't have picks, or if you're voting... Or not voting, if you're betting, make sure not to bet for these specific drivers. So I'll pull that up real quick. And here we go. So yeah, we're going to start off with the drivers who I don't think you should put in your fantasy lineup. Before I get into this, actually, while I'm on NASCAR's website, don't have the raw feed available quite yet. Hopefully that'll be ready to go at the start of the race, but... You can go up to quick links on the NASCAR mobile app or website. Go to Fantasy. You can sign in with your email. Free to join. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing in 2024 if you win the regular season or playoff championship. You want to know why? Because I will buy the tickets for you guys. That is a prize as being a part of this channel. So you can subscribe. You can play. Again, it is free to join. And you get 2 chances to win every season. You can see my lineup on there. Obviously, you have your starting 5 as usual, and then before the end of stage 2, you swap your garage out for the... There's an ant on my hand. What the... How did that happen? Where did that come from? Hang on. We gotta... Where'd he go? We're not having this. That's what I get for eating up here. I eat 1 snack up here. I don't know where he went. He'll be back. I've got to keep this on me. This is the effects of the live stream when you go live. That's the second time there's been an ant crawling on me in the last couple days. I was eating dinner downstairs on like Thursday night after our Throwback Thursday stream, and there was one that was crawling up my leg. I don't know where it went. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Oh my gosh. Ant infestations. Yes, we do. That was the last thing I was expecting. What was I talking about? I got sidetracked. Oh, man. I don't even know where we're at. Fantasy. You get 5 drivers in your fantasy lineup every single week. You can reset them. You can only play up to the same driver 10 times throughout the course of the year. Then you have bonus picks that are head-to-head. You see, I got Logano over Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. over Bell this week. This is my lineup for this week. So, I mean, if you copy it, that's fine, but just know that you're not going to beat me this week, so you're not really going to gain any points. So, there it is. But appreciate everybody that is already in the league. I think we do have plenty more entries available, so even though you've missed the first couple races this year, your chances of winning the regular season championship obviously not going to be quite as well, but you can practice, and then obviously by the end of the season, you guys will get to compete for the playoffs because everybody is qualified for the playoffs. All right, we're going to get this up here. The Keegan 500. Ants on Keegan. Yeah, how about the Ants and Pants 500 today? That has to be like the most random thing I think that's ever happened on the channel. Oh my gosh. Try to regain my focus here. That's me. I refresh that page. I don't even know where it went. I just immediately swiped it off my hand, and it went flying across the room, and I tried to find it, and I couldn't find it. But if I find it again, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. I just hope he doesn't bother me, like, at the end of the race. I'm like mid-race call, they're coming to the checker. Ah! Just something like that. Like, hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, so on to the fantasy picks. These are 3 drivers you should absolutely have in your fantasy lineup at some point today. Maybe some drivers to bet on for top 10 finishes or not top 10 finishes. We're going to start off with the drivers who I don't think are going to run particularly well, as mentioned moments ago. And we're going to start off with probably the most obvious, I think, of these picks of the 3 that you should stay away from. We're going to start off with RFK's Chris Buescher. Now, Buescher's been off to a strong start this season, finished 4th in the Daytona 500, ended up 13th at Auto Club last week, got some stage points, and is currently 6th in the point standings after the first 2 races. Even though he's off to a good start this year, especially for a mid-pack team, I don't trust him to have a good finish today. He only has 1 career top 10 finish at this racetrack. Last year, he specifically on tracks that were bigger than 1 mile in length only had 1 top 10 finish, and that was on Gateway, and that is a flat 1 1/3 mile oval. Nothing really compared to any other track on the surface, especially of the intermediates that are more banked, a lot less grip. So and obviously faster as well. So the intermediate speed for the RFK Fords has been a problem. Now, he was 4th fastest in practice yesterday, but he does start pretty deep in the field. He did not qualify well. Qualified 22nd for today's race. So again, in 13 races last year on tracks bigger than a mile in length, or I should say 14, he only had the 1 top 10. So he did have a strong end of the season last year, but a lot of those strong runs at the end of the year were on road courses and short tracks, not so much on the intermediates with this next-gen car for both him and Brad Keselowski. So again, I would stay away specifically from Chris Buescher for putting him as a potential garage pick, or even if you're looking at him to possibly get a good finish, because his teammate Brad Keselowski, who did qualify in the top 10 and was a little faster than him in practice, is up there. I don't necessarily think that'll correlate as well for Chris Buescher today. So stay away from Chris Buescher. Another driver to stay away from is going to be Daniel Suarez. Now, I do think Trackhouse Racing will be some of the drivers, some of the teams, I guess, to beat. These 2 teams specifically, the 99 and the 1 on intermediate tracks this season. Both Chastain and Suarez had top 5 finishes at Auto Club last week, but the reason why I wanted you guys to stay away from Daniel Suarez this week specifically is because he doesn't perform very well at Las Vegas. He only has 1 career top 10 finish here, and of course he has had 9 starts at this racetrack, excluding the 2020 starts he had with Gaunt Brothers. So with Stewart-Haas Racing, he has 2 races here. With Joe Gibbs Racing, he's got 4 races here, and now he has had 4 races under his belt with Trackhouse, and he has failed to finish in the top 10 in all 4 starts with Trackhouse. You have to go back to his final start with Joe Gibbs Racing in the fall of 2018 to get his only top 10 finish at this racetrack. So not very good for Daniel Suarez. He also didn't unload with great speed yesterday. The Warner Chastain is clinging on in the back half of the top 10. I think he'll be at least a good runner today. More on him in a little bit. But as far as Daniel Suarez go, he did not unload with that same speed. 18th is where he qualified, was 24th initially in practice yesterday. So not quick at all for Suarez. I'm going to predict both him and Chris Buescher at the very least to not get top 10 finishes today. So stay away from them, and also stay away from Denny Hamlin. Believe it or not, Denny Hamlin has had 9 finishes of his last 16 starts at Las Vegas where he has finished outside the top 10. This is his worst intermediate track on the schedule. Now, he did not have any good runs at this track last year either, finished outside the top 10 in both races. Specifically the spring race, he finished in the 32nd place position. And a lot of that was just him being very slow on speed. He was nowhere near the other JGR Toyotas of Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. by the end of that race. So not very good here for Denny Hamlin. He does have a win in the fall in 2021, but his spring races are actually worse than the fall races, and he's been pretty bad at this track all the way around over the last decade or so. Qualified in the 12th place position today, so just outside the top 10, but he too was outside the top 20 in practice like these other couple drivers I mentioned. 23rd fastest in practice yesterday. The Toyotas as a whole didn't unload with great speed. I think Christopher Bell's the only one that qualified inside the top 10. Bell and Gibbs were the only ones to qualify in the top 10, and for Christopher Bell, he was the only one in the top 10 in practice of the Toyota. So stay away from Denny Hamlin specifically. If you are going to go for somebody in the Toyota camp, I'd look more towards a Martin Truex Jr. He has finished in the top 10 in the last 5 races here. I just don't trust the Toyotas as a whole, and obviously he was running really good here last season in the spring before a late caution. He was looking like he was going to get a guaranteed top 2 finishes. Him and Kyle Busch were battling for the win in the late going of that one. But so if you had to look for somebody for Toyota, I would go Truex, but I'm not going to guarantee a top 10 finish for him. But who I will guarantee a top 10 finish for, nice transition, are going to be these next 3 drivers who I think you should absolutely have in your fantasy lineups. And by the way, in the first 2 points races this year that we've done these predictions, I'm 6 for 7 on predicting these drivers to at least finish in the top 10. My win pick has been predicted correctly twice so far this year, and that is counting a dual race at Daytona as well. I picked Logano to win the first duel. And the win picks overall, the Clash, I picked Kyle Busch, finished 3rd. Picked Logano in the first dual race. He won that. Daytona 500, I picked Logano. He ended up finishing 2nd. Last week, I picked Kyle Busch. He wins. So I haven't picked a driver to win the race that's finished outside the top 3. So if you're looking for good betting advice here last second, I'm not saying you have to pick the same guy to win the race as me, but maybe you can put a bet on them to finish top 5 because I think it's more than likely going to happen. We'll start off with the driver who I do think will win this race while we're on that subject. And obviously, I'm guaranteeing a top 10 for this driver as well. It's going to be Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, according to Vegas, was actually the 4th favorite. I ended up getting him at plus 850. The favorite, according to Vegas, is Kyle Busch, coming off his win from last week. Of course, won the truck race Friday night as well. Finished 4th in the Xfinity race, so he's had a lot more on-track activity than any other driver this weekend in any series. So that will bode well for him. And he did have a good finish here last year also. Ended up finishing in the top 5 with Joe Gibbs Racing in the spring race. So he's got that going for him. Tyler Reddick specifically, though, didn't run quite as well in this race last season compared to Kyle Busch. So that's a little bit concerning. I think a lot of that showed for Kyle Busch in practice and qualifying this week. He was fast. He was in the top 10, but in the back half of the top 10, kind of like Chastain, who I'll get to in a moment. I'm really favoring the Fords again this weekend, as I was for Daytona, specifically the Penske Fords of Blaney and Logano. I do think some of the Chevys will compete again. I think my pick to win today's race specifically is Kyle Larson. The reason why I had Kyle Larson winning this race today, well, first and foremost, he was fastest in practice yesterday. He qualified in the 6th place position despite the fact that he ended up in that first group qualifying in the top 5. The lap times had really fallen off for the second group drivers that went out in the final session of knockout qualifying. The wind had changed directions on the backstretch, and everybody who was in the second group all qualified 6th through 10th despite being in the top 5 in the first round. So for Kyle Larson, that is why he probably qualified 6th, maybe could have had a shot at the pole. 12 starts at Las Vegas. I should say in his last 12 starts at Las Vegas, he does have 1 win. That came in the spring race in 2021, 2 years ago this weekend. Has 5 top 3 finishes in those last 12 races and 9 top 10 finishes. So again, at the very least, I have him getting a top 10 today. I put money on him to get in the top 10 and to win the race. And I think I have him to be the best of like all the Group A drivers as well. So I'm very high on Kyle Larson today, and I think at the very least, he's going to get a solid finish, and he'll definitely be a contender for the win. In the spring race last year at the Next Gen car right here at Vegas, he ended up finishing in 2nd following the win at Auto Club, so he started off the season pretty well last year. This year, on the other hand, he hasn't started off very well. That's probably the only concerning thing with Kyle Larson is that he's 24th in points after 2 races. He's had 2 abysmal finishes and very few stage points to show for in the first 2 races, but I do think he will have speed today. He's got track position for the start, something he really hasn't had the first couple. Well, I guess he would have had it at Daytona, but that's a different animal. As far as last weekend at Auto Club, he didn't really have it, and I think that'll help him out today because I definitely think he is going to be a contender. I wouldn't think he wouldn't be a contender if I thought he was going to win. So, again, he is my pick. We'll see if I can get 3 correct. The other 2 drivers you should absolutely have in your fantasy lineups today would be Joey Logano and Ross Chastain. I'll start off with Logano. He starts on the pole today, so that's a good start. Qualified not only on the pole, but ended up 3rd fastest in practice yesterday. In his last 14 starts, he has 3 wins. 2019, 2020 spring races, and then 2022 in the fall. So he won last year in the Next Gen car here. 7 top 5 finishes in those last 14 races, so 50% of the time he's going to finish in the top 5 over the last just over a dozen races, and 11 top 10 finishes in that stretch. He's probably the hottest driver along with Kyle Busch, I think, this season. Finished second in the Daytona 500, finished 10th at Auto Club last week. He ran top 10 pretty much most of the day. Wasn't in contention to really win the race. He was kind of 6th through 10th most of the race. I think he'll probably be right around there again today, even though he looks really fast. For some reason, I just don't trust him to win this race for whatever reason, even though statistics show that he has done that a few times over the last handful of years. I think he was the second favorite in Vegas odds. I think he was plus 550, just behind Kyle Busch, and rightfully so. I think he's going to have a good run at the very least, so I'm guaranteeing a top 10 for Logano. Ross Chastain, like I mentioned, is the only other driver who I'm going to guarantee a top 10 finish for today. He finished 3rd in the spring race last year and 2nd in the fall race, so he's had good speed at this track with the next-gen car. He led 68 laps in the spring race, 83 in the fall, so I definitely think he'll be a contender potentially for the win today. Had 18 stage points in the fall race as well. Was very fast on the intermediate track last weekend, had a top 5 finish, and not only that, he won the first 2 stages of the race, so maximized on his stage points. And I think that is huge for fantasy, obviously, because even if a driver doesn't get a good finish, if you can get a lot of stage points out of him, you can at least have a mediocre day at best out of your fantasy drivers. But I'm guaranteed him to get a good finish today, so that's why I think you should have him. Stage points will come along with that, of course, as well. Should, at least. Qualified in the 8th place position yesterday and was 10th fastest in practice. I mentioned he was in the back half of the top 10. So I do think he'll probably fall off a little bit on the longer run, maybe. That's going to be probably the most concerning, I think, for Ross Chastain. Or maybe actually that's saying that he'll be better in the longer run, and the short run he'll lack because there's some drivers that out-qualified in practice as far as speed-wise better than him. He has had a great start to the season as well. Ended up finishing 9th in the Daytona 500 and 3rd last weekend at Auto Club, so he too has finished top 10 first 2 races like Logano. So going to pick Larson to win the race, but I do think that Chastain and Logano will probably be the 2 drivers that will contend the most with him. Kyle Busch would be a good pick for a top 10 finish, I think, today too. With the speed he's shown this year and the fact that his last 6 Auto Club starts, he's finished in the top 5 of those races. So I do think he can be a threat to win today's race. So I'd probably group him in there. I just didn't want to have him in the must-haves list because I've had him in the must-have list the first 2 races of the season. I picked him to win the Clash too, so I kind of wanted to steer clear of Kyle Busch specifically in the pre-race today, unless I thought he was going to win, but I'm picking Larson instead. So I do think we'll see our 3rd different winner in the first 3 races of the year. Appreciate everybody tuning in, though. Carlos Cortez, Regine Huddleston, Mike George, and others, welcome into the stream. The Long Pig Chef. Chef. I don't know how to pronounce words, I guess. Chef, welcome to the stream. Looking back through the chat real quick. Robert Goodrich, thanks for tuning back in today. VP Stallat, welcome in. It's on your head. No, it's not. Talking about the ant, aren't you? I swear, if it was, I'd freak out. If you couldn't tell already by the start of the stream today, not very keen when it comes to insects. Here's Bryce Harper with the command, and then we'll get through the starting lineup afterwards.
National League MVP, Bryce Harper. Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired, and the Pennzoil 400 will begin here shortly. Still waiting on our raw feed to become available on NASCAR's website right now. It was lacking for a large portion at the end of the year last year, but it's been pretty good for us ever since the Clash at the start of this season. So we'll hope for the best. Hopefully that will become available for us. We didn't have any issues with it in the Truck or Xfinity race the last couple nights, so hopefully it'll be up and running. But for right now, we'll go through the starting lineup anyway. Joey Logano will be on the pole for today's race, his first pole of the early going of the season. 2 top 10s in the first 2 races, and a 3-time Las Vegas winner trying to go for number 4 today. William Byron will start outside of the front row looking for his first win at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and trying to also look for his first win since the 7th race of the season last year at Martinsville. Ryan Blaney and Ty Gibbs will be in row 2. Blaney's still yet to win a points race in the next-gen car and trying to win his first at Vegas today, and Ty Gibbs his best starting spot in his Young Cup career. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, the 2 Kyles, will line up in row number 3 today. Busch winner last week at Auto Club, and Larson a former winner at Vegas 2 seasons ago in 2021 in the spring. Brad Keselowski and Ross Chastain will line up in row 4. Chastain top 3 in both Vegas races last year, and Keselowski a 3-time Vegas winner in 2014, 2016, and the fall of 2018. Austin Cindric and Christopher Bell will line up in row number 5. Cindric looking for his first top 10 in his 3rd start at Vegas, and Bell was the 2nd highest Toyota in qualifying and practice yesterday, and of course the 2nd of which, but the 1st for Joe Gibbs Racing in the starting lineup today. Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin will line up in row number 6. Hamlin and Bowman both former Vegas winners. Bowman won the race last year in the spring, and Hamlin won the year before in the fall. Bubba Wallace and Kevin Harvick will be in row 7. Wallace had a great car last year in the fall. We'll see if he'll be fast again today. And Kevin Harvick, same goes for him. Pretty consistent at these 1.5 mile racetracks, even with the next-gen car. Look for him to potentially get another top 10 to start the year. Martin Truex Jr. and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be back in row number 8. Truex, a former Las Vegas winner, and of course Stenhouse won the Daytona 500 just 2 weeks ago. Michael McDowell and Chris Buescher will line up in row number 9. Buescher looking for his 2nd top 10 at the racetrack today, and McDowell finished in the top 10 2 years ago, back in 2021. Corey LaJoie and Chase Briscoe will line up in row number 10 rather. Row number 11 will be Eric Almirola and Eric Jones. AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez in row 7. Mentioned a little bit ago, Daniel Suarez only 1 career top 10 at Vegas, trying to end that drought today. Noah Gragson and Austin Dillon will be in row 13. Row 14, Justin Haley and Todd Gillen. J.J. Yaley, Cody Ware in row number 15. Row 16, Ryan Preece and Josh Berry. Berry filling in for the injured Chase Elliott following a snowboarding accident in Colorado on Friday. So he will be racing for the foreseeable future in that 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports. Ty Dillon and Tyler Reddick will be back in row 17. Reddick had an issue yesterday when they unloaded, had to change an engine during practice, so has 0 practice time on that car this weekend and that new engine in the race car. That's why he'll be starting at the rear of the field. Also finished no better than 34th in the first 2 races of the year. Harrison Burton, BJ McLeod will bring up the rear of the field. Burton crashed very hard yesterday in practice. And BJ McLeod, of course, starting last, making up our 18 rows of 36 cars for today's Pennzoil 400 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're going to be queuing up Kyle Busch, potentially, in the pre-race pace lap interview. You guys will get to listen into that here in a couple moments. Kevin Beeler, welcome in. Cormac, welcome to the stream. Stu Isaac, welcome. And here is Kyle Busch.
Yeah, buddy, what up?
Man, you are red hot. Had to feel good to get that big win last week in Fontana. Randall Burnett getting everybody in this 8-car in victory lane. Now you're right back at home in Las Vegas. Tell me about your car. Tell me about your week.
Yeah, man, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of cool things came from that California win. So, real proud of this bunch and happy to be with them where we were able to score that victory in California. So, that Lucas Oil Camaro was fast. Hoping that the Alsco uniform Chevy is just as good. We'll find out.
Hi, buddy. Looking forward to watching you. You always put on a show.
Thank you.
And he does. Man, I'm telling you, I cannot wait to watch these guys. Struggled a little bit in practice. Cannot wait to see how they're going to have in this speed.
Well, in the spirit of Las Vegas, you fans have a chance to win 10 grand of Clint's cash for free today on Fox Bet Super 6. Simple and it's fun, just like Clint. Just download the free Super 6 app on your phone, enter your 6 predictions for today's race, and if all 6 of your picks are right, you could win big. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 and start playing for free. All right, let's hear from our pit reporters and crew chief, beginning with Jamie Little.
Good afternoon, Mike. Yes, Alex Bowman is the defending race winner here, and he considers Las Vegas one of his favorite tracks. And although he did miss the fall race here because of a concussion, he is picked up right where he left off. This race car in practice was good on the bottom, the middle, and the top, something not everybody in the field can say. He's trying to get his second win at Las Vegas, but his first with his new crew chief, Blake Harris. Regan?
Jamie, it's been a very difficult start to Tyler Reddick's time at 23:11 Racing. 2 races, 2 DNFs so far, and it didn't get any better yesterday. An engine issue before practice started. They got no practice, no qualifying with that race car. He will have to start from the back. The team told me the goal today is to simply finish this race, all the laps, get some data points on Tyler and what they need to do for the remainder of this season. This is a perfect track to do that at, though. Tyler riding a 3-race top 10 streak at Las Vegas. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Regan, a crew chief has a couple of challenges here today. One, keeping a good balance on that race car with every adjustment you make. You heard Joey Logano in the pre-race talk about strategy. That leads me to my Liberty Mutual race strategy. Depending on how the cautions fall, split the stages in half. Get that full thing about those 4 fresh tires. And
Get the full thing about
we're rolling the dice. We're not afraid to gamble. If you run 10 or 12 laps on your tires, jump in there and get right side tires. The fuel window is about 58 to 62 laps. If you catch a caution and you can make it to the end of those stages, Mike, you jump in there and fill it up with fuel. But the bottom line is, that's my game plan. I get an untimely caution, I got to start over.
Thanks, Larry. Don't burn up that calculator today. Well, since we're in Las Vegas, let's spin the wheel.
Here's our first Las Vegas punt of the race.
Here are the winning car numbers.
Didn't even get to the
last
start.
Year. And Joey Logano, of course, won here and won the championship. And let's spin it again. Starting at Daytona with the 47, Ricky Stenhouse. And moving on to California, and you know where this is going to land. Driver number 8, Kyle Busch. So, where are you putting your chips today?
Oh, buddy, this is a fun game to play. We're in the right state. I think I'm going with that polecat. Joey Logano was extremely fast. He said his Mustang was good. He was happy with it. 22 all the way.
Gosh, good question. I mean, I think I put my money on Kyle Larson. He's really confident when we talk to him. We know
I can't believe I'm saying this, but me and Danica agree with each other.
I'm putting my money on Larson.
I got my money on Larson too. Oh, I cannot show that.
We're here to gamble. You can't gamble without a long shot making the money. I am going with the old man right there. Kevin Harvick is my guy. I think he's going to do it. He's my long shot. He's going to make me all the money. How about that?
We shall see. That's why we're all tuned in.
I liked what he said in pre-race. He was excited. He's worried about the wind. Everybody's worried about the wind.
Yeah, it's a little cooler than yesterday. Instead of the low 60s, temps in the high 50s. The winds, it says out of the southwest, and that will change. 18 to 35 mile an hour winds, about a steady 20 mile an hour gusts as we fought our way back from the other end of the roof here, back to the booth. So yes, the wind will absolutely be a factor today. We get ready in Vegas. Here's the all-new Toyota Camry TRD leading the field, and that is the governor of Nevada, Joe Lombardo, at the wheel, honorary pace car driver today. Teams checking their speed down pit road.
I'm going to go back to the wind. It's one thing to have a constant wind, okay, but this gust, you would talk to Kyle Larson, heard from him, Joey Logano, the gusting is what you can't control. Kind of like on a dirt track, as you're going around there, all of a sudden a rut is formulated in one of the corners, and you hook that thing the wrong way, it throws you every which way. That's what a gust does at 180 mile an hour. We've all felt being behind a semi down the highway, not at 180 mile an hour, and that wind changing direction. It's like the semi changing lanes in front of you.
So true. It'd be like driving around and hitting a little bit of oil. It's sudden. It's something that you don't expect to happen. You're not ready for it. And also, let's hope it can be confusing. What do we do with the car? What changes should I make? Do you really always want to change because of the wind? Do you have to lock it down? Where are you going to pay the penalty? Challenging to deal with gusty conditions.
Well, let's show you what you're probably in store for here today, as we saw yesterday in the Xfinity race and in both the Cup races last year. All came down to a late restart and a thrilling finish as teammates battled here in the spring. Alex Bowman taking it to Kyle Larson to capture the flag.
Sure did. Huge win for Alex Bowman. And then this one. This was a battle, but this was also the gamble that I was talking about being in Las Vegas. That 22-car gamble, they put tires on, they came and pounced on that win at the end, passing Ross Chastain. I think that's what it comes down to. How you split these stages up, short pitting or not, 2 tires at the end. If that opportunity comes, depending on if the caution comes at the right time, might just be your day in old Las Vegas.
Well, that depends on your driver, too. I think the gambles that you take depend on the style of driver you have. Are they the ones that are aggressive and can make up a couple of spots, or do you need to keep them out front?
And to update once again, the number 9 of Chase Elliott. Chase vacationing in Colorado this week, Friday. Broke his tibia, his shin bone, in a snowboarding accident. Now, he's a veteran snowboarder. It was just an off-week vacation thing, and this happened. 3-hour surgery Friday night. He flew home yesterday, and Josh Berry, who drives in the Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports, tapped for the number 9. Yep. Yesterday, we were explaining that this is his first time ever in a Gen 7 Cup car, but not his first start in the series. He ran 2 races in 2021, but that was before this car debuted, so this is all new for Josh Berry.
Hey, I tell you what, we've been hearing Dale Jr., old buddy Dale, telling everybody how good this Josh Berry is. We're fixing to find out. No better opportunity you could ask for than being in that 9 car filling in for Chase Elliott.
He will start 29th, and here's a tweet from Chase Elliott, thanking everybody for their support and wishing Josh Berry well today. 3 cars at the back of the field, unable to qualify. Tyler Reddick, engine issues before practice. Harrison Burton crashed in practice. Mechanical problem, nothing, not his fault. They are in a backup car in the number 21. A loose lug nut from another series spit through his radiator in practice, dumped water on the right front tire, and he lost control and crashed. BJ McLeod, transaxle problem. And so he is also in the back without being able to qualify.
So we are getting set for the start of today's race. I apologize that there's no leaderboard that I could show at the time being. I'll keep refreshing NASCAR's website up until, throughout the course of this race until it becomes available. We've had issues with this in the past. Last year, a couple of races this happened, and it came available at some time middle of the race. So I'll do my best to give you guys as much access to the race as possible until then. For now, the green flag is in the air, and the Penske Fords on the bottom will lead the field to the green as Joey Logano will get the launch and a push for Ryan Blaney in the 12. Larson immediately going to the outside of rookie Ty Gibbs, trying to take it 3 wide with Ross Chastain behind him. Hamlin 3 wide with Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman now 4 wide on the back straightaway as they split Austin Cindric. Funneling down to 3x3 in the middle of the pack, about 3 rows deep, now 4, almost 5 rows deep. Off of turn 4 in the opening lap of the race, Joey Logano leads the first lap. Byron scored second. Blaney in third. Logano a full 3 car lengths clear of his teammate Ryan Blaney, who's trying to slide his way clear on William Byron off turn 2. Almost slams the door shut on him. Byron going to be able to get a nice run off turn 2 on the outside and stay alongside the 12 of Blaney. Kyle Larson in the 5, closely behind the 12 and the 24, who continue to battle for second. Byron now clear of Blaney for second. And a big slide in the back half of the top 10 by Kyle Busch in the 8 as he tries to clear a couple cars after a 3-wide battle on his own right. Racing with Ty Gibbs in the 54, of course his former car, now rebranded as the 54 car, but that is the 18 team that Kyle Busch had driven for his whole Cup career from 2008 all the way up until last season. 2 championships and over 40 career wins with that organization, and already won with this new one at RCR as of last week. Won the truck race on Friday night this weekend for his own Kyle Busch Motorsports. Their first win since jumping over to Chevrolet this season as well. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, couple of JGR teammates battling side by side for about the 9th place position, right behind Ty Gibbs. Gibbs has already fallen back about 4 spots in these opening 4 laps of the race. Hamlin looking a little loose on the outside lane. Bell not able to capitalize on that, remains side by side with him. Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski also side by side for 10th. Bowman getting a big run on them. And he'll just stay behind the Keselowski car on the bottom of the track. Now moving up to the middle line, right behind Bubba Wallace. The outside lane seemed to be the preferred lane, especially in the truck race on Friday in the cooler temperatures. But in the Xfinity race yesterday, it was pretty equal between the top and the bottom. And in fact, the faster cars in the race at the very end were all running the bottom near the white line. So it'll be interesting in today's race for the Cup Series exactly what will be the preferred lane. Will it be the top or the bottom? Because we've seen a mixture of both throughout the course of this weekend's races. W. Fox, thanks for tuning into the stream also. SC30, Seth Thomas, James Sykes, Son Izzo, thanks for tuning in also. Get the data. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I keep refreshing it. The NASCAR's website's not working properly for me. I tried to go to Fox Sports and it was showing a little bit of the race. Glad the stream didn't get taken down for that, thankfully. It was like the second time I almost got copyrighted in the first half hour of the stream. Joey Logano, still the race leader. Byron right behind him, 1/10 of a second off the lead. Kyle Larson has moved into 3rd after passing Ryan Blaney, and Chastain still in 5th. That is the top 5 right now in the opening laps of this race. Some drivers that started a little bit deeper in the field that are trying to work their way forward. Chase Briscoe's up to 16th already. He was outside the top 30 throughout most of the race last weekend. Ryan Blaney not great on this short run to start the race. Chastain has just passed him this last lap for 4th place, moving Blaney back to 5th, and now Kyle Busch in the 8 looking for a run at him. Busch just 0.4 of a second behind Blaney. William Byron working himself to the outside lane. Logano running the middle through turns 1 and 2. Still a little bit of clean air in the nose for the 24 in the center of the corner, and a slight bit more run off the banking with running a little bit of a higher lane. Kyle Larson all the way down on the bottom near the white line is closing in pretty quickly on both cars, almost getting to the inside of Byron off the exit of turn 4. Single file top 3, nose to tail, lap 10. 80 laps will be in stage 1 today, 85 in stage 2, and 102 laps in the final stage, making up to 267. Byron on the inside through turns 1 and 2 will battle to the inside of Logano for the race lead. Gonna side draft him on the backstretch. That'll hold both cars up as Larson continues to close. Larson moves up to the outside lane near the wall, while meanwhile Byron will clear Logano for the lead on the bottom, and Willie B out in front for the first time in the race, and he will lead lap number 10. After Logano led the first 9 from the pole, Larson still in 3rd right behind the 22. Fox will head to a commercial break. And we'll take our first break real quick as well. I apologize for doing that, but we don't have any raw feed to go off of, so I can't really keep the commentating going during the commercial breaks. So we have no update for exactly what the leaderboard is for the... It's back! God bless America. Why is it always on my hand? What the heck? I got him. I got him now. Oh, he's dead. He's dead. Get up. Get up there. Get off of there. Yeah. Oh, he's still... There's no quit in him. Okay, he's dead now. We're good. We're good. I gotta clean. We gotta clean up the crime scene. Big mistake. All the places he could have crawled up. Save his little life. He decided to call right back up my hand the second time. He's gone now. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in pieces, actually. Alright. Let's refresh this leaderboard. I gotta get the chat back on my phone. Where'd my phone go? Now I don't even know where my phone went. I think I took it with me. Nope. I dropped it. I dropped it during the ant infestation. We're good. Okay. We're good. Casey Kane fan, thanks for tuning in. Think Hendrick and other teams will have more concerns for outside activities. I'm sure some teams will take initiative into it. I don't think we'll see anything extreme to the point where you're not going to see Cup guys in Xfinity anymore or anything of that nature from racing relations, but maybe stuff like, snowboarding, skiing during mid-season, or skydiving. Anything that falls into the extreme sport category, they might have to stay away from. I don't think every team will initiate it. I know Joe Gibbs Racing's always been pretty strict with, stuff like that. Even Hendrick was for a long time. When Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson were still racing there. But ever since Larson got brought in, kind of laid back on it. And sure enough, they laid back on it and Chase Elliott gets hurt. Now, obviously, it's something that he has done pretty much his whole life anyway. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. The bug took my phone. Yeah, he tried. I dropped it. I couldn't find it. It was under my seat, actually. Frank Powers, welcome into the stream, by the way. Jack LeBlanc, thanks for tuning in also. 66 Northwest Tennessee. Yeah, 57 degrees and very windy at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway today. A little cooler temperature-wise than what it's been the last couple of days. But a lot warmer than what it was last weekend at Fontana for the Cup and the Xfinity Series as well. Still don't have anything for you guys yet. It's weird. It's weird because it shows the top 3 on my screen at the very top. I don't know if you guys could see that or not. And then you click on it where you usually get the raw feed, and it sends you right to the Xfinity Series. So it's almost like this was still up from yesterday, and they haven't updated it to the Cup Series yet on NASCAR's website. It's definitely a problem. Back from the commercial break, though, they're on lap 20 currently. William Byron continues to lead. He took the lead away right before the commercial break. Joey Logano has fallen from leading the first 9 laps of the race all the way back to 5th. So him and Ryan Blaney fading very fast after qualifying 1st and 3rd. They're now running 5th and 7th on the racetrack. That was Kyle Busch's radio into his team. A little bit of tight conditions mid-pack for the 8 car. He is running in the 8th place position right now. Hendrick Motorsports, though, and really Chevrolet at the top of the board. 1, 2, 3. And then you have 1 Toyota and 1 Ford remaining still in the top 5. There was a parlay I almost took up earlier today. It was plus 5,000 odds for Christopher Bell to be the highest running Toyota, Chastain to be the highest running Chevy, and Blaney to be the highest running Ford. And I'm like, I could see that happening, but the only reason I didn't do it is because I picked Larson to win. I'm so high on Larson winning this race. And obviously right now Byron is actually the highest running Chevy in the early going with leading this thing, and he's a full second ahead of Larson right now, but I thought that was interesting. Took Byron for your pick as a long shot. Well, I mean, it's looking good at least early. We'll see if he's going to have the long run speed. That came in to bite Chandler Smith in the closing laps after a very long green flag run yesterday as the final stage went caution-free, just under 100 laps of green flag racing to the very end. We'll see if we end up having that today. Both the truck and the Xfinity Series races yesterday and Friday night. ended up with the final stage going caution-free. We are caution-free so far. No scheduled competition caution due to having practice and qualifying yesterday. That was only last week with the getting washed out, which is why we had the cop yellow at lap 15 in that race. Gradually about a tenth or two quicker a lap, it seems like, for Byron over Larson. Out to a 1.3 second lead again now. Fox heading to another commercial break. We'll stay right here, even though I don't have much to talk about, because there's still no leaderboard available on NASCAR's website. Unless NBC Sports has something. I know they won't show the actual race on theirs because Fox is obviously covering the race today. Well, it shows the leader during the commercial break. There we go. Well, we have something. It's better than nothing. Oh my gosh, what happened there? Yeah, we have something. Lap 26 at 2:67. Byron is your race leader. Shows where they started, but we don't have any lap times on the screen, unfortunately. And I can't expand it larger than this during the actual race itself. See about the top 20 on the screen. Better than nothing. Top 22, top 21. Fish King 883, thanks for tuning in. Booyah Get Yanks, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, Fox has been kind of freeloading the commercials at the start of the race. First 2/3 of it, so then when the final stage comes around, they really don't have any more commercial breaks to get through. Close the page and reopen it. I mean, I could try to do that. I don't think it's going to really work, but usually refreshing it is all it usually works. Back to the home page. Yeah, it's not doing anything. We'll just have to keep refreshing it from time to time. Still caution free, it appears. See, we're not going to know if they're under caution with this as well. And I have to keep refreshing the page because I just realized it's still on lap 26. So I have to keep refreshing this page for it to update, unfortunately. Race leaders are getting into the back half of lap traffic. BJ McLeod has gone a lap down. I believe he is the only driver a lap down in the early going to this race. McLeod well off the pace. Had no practice time, though, yesterday. Actually, Cody Ware also a lap down. So J.J. Yaley, 34th, would be the last car in the lead lap. During the commercial break, Kyle Busch got a bit loose off turn 2 and ended up hitting the outside wall. And then when he slid off the wall, almost made contact with his former teammate Martin Truex Jr. Busch has lost a lot of ground after that slide. He fell from 8th before the break down to 12th.
Up the tires, got the right rear works on the right front. Steering wheel's off, got dead center to the right, half hour.
That's the one I didn't want to hear. That's the one that crew chief Randall Burnett didn't want to hear either. Steering wheel's off, that toe is off, front end damage. Maybe a toe link. That toe link could possibly do it. It just seemed like he hit way hard with the right front. Here comes Blaney on pit road with a problem. Possibly strategy here.
Ryan Blaney on pit road early.
33 laps complete. 47 to go in the stage, so we're kind of right in the fuel window. Riggin.
Wicks here, 12 car, Ryan Blaney. Of course, that car tight, as we reported earlier, that brought them to pit road a little bit earlier than most.
That's not a bad call. Falling back, you can only fall back so far. Again, he can make it to the end. 80 laps in this stage. Here they come. He's going to draw.
Martin Truex Jr. is in now as well.
Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, Larry told us today's fuel window, 48 to 52 laps, so right on time. Jamie.
19 of Martin Truex Jr. losing the nose a bit too much off of 2, and he's loose over the bumps. He was loose yesterday as well. He couldn't fully commit in qualifying, so they still have some work to do to tighten that car up. A 4-tire stop here.
You're going to see some of them start peeling off, but why would you not peel off as a leader? You know, it's second difference. You cannot peel off sometimes because you never know if that caution's going to come out and it could bite you.
You're riding down pit road with Denny Hamlin. Regan.
Like Denny Hamlin's been pleased with his race car thus far at the start of this race. Pretty smooth and steady on the track, just a little bit too tight in turns 1 and 2. He wants an adjustment for that.
Austin Cindric is in, and more comers. Harrison Burton, Ryan Preece on pit road.
Again, you still haven't seen the leader William Byron, his teammate Larson. They haven't pitted yet. They're going to keep an eye on Chastain. Some of these other guys are running maybe in the top 5, but I want to take you back. Why haven't they? You see these guys coming out and running a second faster. Somebody wrecks and spins out, causes a caution. All these cars could be a lap down. That's why, as a leader, you have to be careful here.
True, but they're fast.
Here they come.
Logano, Chastain are in. There's Gibbs, Noah Gragson, Jamie.
All the way down pit road to the number 1 pit box for Joey Logano. As you ride on board, he comes to a stop. That car's just working too tight now, not turning through the center enough on that Joey Logano car. They made an air pressure adjustment on the right sides.
So now that some of the leaders have been in, everybody else pretty much needs to follow.
You know, I think of all
Christopher
times
Bell's
in the
on
race
pit
to
road.
a little bit early.
He was
It's
in
the first
4th.
one,
Race
because
leader
you don't
William
know
Byron
exactly
on
how
his
your
way
car's
in.
gonna be, so it's the best time to make a big swing in.
And here they come, Danica. William Byron, teammate. Larson, Chastain, all your leaders are coming now.
I think they waited because they were fast. William and Kyle were running out front. They felt good about their car, clean air.
Regan.
Like the 5-car, Kyle Larson has had good pace all race long. Crew Chief Cliff Daniels just telling him to take what the race car will give him, and that is it. Jamie?
William Byron, the 24, just led his first laps of the season. 27 on the board already. Just a touch too free. But this race car's been good off the truck since yesterday.
Noah Gragson, too fast entering pit road.
That's what you can't afford to do. Green flag pit stops, no mistakes. The only thing that can bite you is a big time mistake like a pit road penalty, speeding penalty.
So Tyler Reddick has yet to pit, and he has assumed the lead.
Okay, that 12 car, you see him on the left. Blaney was the first one to jump on pit road, get advantage of those faster lap times. I said much close to a second faster. A lot of gain there, a lot of opportunity for those guys.
Jamie?
These RFK cars are off to a good start this season. Brad Keselowski just saying, car isn't bad, he's lacking a little bit of pace. They'll fix that with a little bit of air pressure. He just does not want to be any freer, Mike.
So only 5 cars have yet to pit. Reddick, Bowman, Berry, Yaley, and BJ McLeod. As you see on your pylon, they have Bowman and Berry in now.
And Reddick is on his way in.
Josh Berry is in. Noah Gragson comes down pit road to serve his penalty. Regan.
Reddick as well.
Regan.
Like the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Race car's a little bit too tight right now. The team has been coaching him up to just keep working on his entry speed to help out the tightness in that car.
Ty Gibbs, too many men over the wall. That'll be a pass-through penalty.
Oh, after the run he had in that first beginning opening segment, that's a killer. But you know, I'm hearing all the cars are too tight, too tight, too tight. I don't think I've heard a single car be loose yet.
You know, one of those things, and I almost pointed it out before you said that. Look at the cloud cover. The cloud cover came in, the track's faster. That kind of tells me that's a reason why they could be too tight.
Tough day for the hometown boys. Kyle Busch has been up in the wall, and Noah Gragson on his penalty drive down pit road is too fast again. He'll have to make another penalty drive down pit road and maybe reset his dash.
Tough break there. So both rookies, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson, during green flag pit stops having penalties. Too many men over the wall on Ty Gibbs's run through green flag pit stops, and Noah Gregson too fast on pit road, speeding both times. And I say both because he came down to serve his pass-through penalty, and he was speeding the second time through as well. We'll continue our coverage here. We'll go through the full field running order just past halfway through stage 1 right now. William Byron has cycled back to the race lead through green flag pit stops. He has led the most laps in the early going so far. Kyle Larson is in second, Ross Chastain third, Christopher Bell fourth, Denny Hamlin is fifth, Brad Keselowski at sixth, Martin Truex Jr. seventh, Bubba Wallace up to eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, and Joey Logano rounds out the top 10. Ryan Blaney in 11th, Kevin Harvick 12th, Tyler Reddick in 13th, but I think he's still on pit road right now. Eric Jones 14th, Austin Cindric 15th, 16th is Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman in 17th, Daniel Suarez in 18th, Corey LaJoie 19th, and Justin Haley is 20th. Eric Almirola in 21st, AJ Allmendinger in 22nd, Chase Briscoe 23rd, 24th is Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th, Josh Berry 26th, Harrison Burton 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Ty Gillen 29th, and Ty Gibbs, after the pit road penalty, is 30th. 31st is BJ McLeod, JJ Ely 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Michael McDowell 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Noah Gregson in last at 36th after having 2 speeding penalties through the green flag pit stops. Ice Demon King 92 Hammer. Dale Opplinger, thanks for tuning in to the stream. Also, we got just over 100 people watching. Jamie Sellier, welcome into the stream. He's pulling for Kyle Busch in his hometown today. I do have a poll up in the chat that you guys can vote on throughout the course of this race. I'll close it at the end of stage 2 for who you think is going to win today's race. I didn't get it in the community tab earlier, but we have it during the stream. Top 3 are, according to Vegas, 62 votes on that poll so far. 31% say Kyle Busch, Joey Logano 24%, 16% for Kyle Larson, and other at 29% right now. So pretty split across the board amongst those 4. Want to take the time also to thank you guys for tuning in throughout this weekend's events during the live commentary streams as usual. Yesterday on the channel, we set our most watched NASCAR Xfinity Series race on the channel. Topped out at over 300 people watching concurrent viewer-wise, and we also topped out at almost 5,000 views total. More than any other NASCAR Xfinity race on the channel, more than the season opener at Daytona, and even more than the Xfinity Championship race back in 2021. That was the only Xfinity race I did that year. I didn't start doing the live commentaries till Talladega that season. And that was the only Xfinity race. That one clocked in at the second most views behind Daytona this year as well. So appreciate everybody tuning in again for these live commentary streams. Helps me out a ton. Sorry we're having some issues with the leaderboard. I've been constantly refreshing and exiting out of NASCAR's website, logging back in, and haven't had anything working correctly, unfortunately. So far, so we'll continue to work on that, or I'll continue to work on that, and while that's going on, continue to bring you guys the coverage as usual on the other side. 1.2 second lead for Byron over Larson. That was about what it was, 1.2 to 1.3 seconds. Those are definitely the 2 fastest cars in the field in the early going of this race, at least of those that have track position. Some of the drivers who qualified outside the top 10 that have made their way forward, all the Joe Gibbs cars pretty much, of at least Hamlin, who started in 12th, is up to 5th. Truex, who started outside the top 15, is up to 7th. And then Bubba Wallace up to 8th place as well after qualifying outside the top 10.
Talented people here. You see Ross and Phil, we've worked well together for a couple of years. That knows Travis and Daniel, and they're just really good people. They're giving them the good tools to work with. We've got an awesome partner in Chevrolet supporting us alongside the other key partner teams, Hendrick and RCR. So we're just sort of clicking on all cylinders, like you said, but really it's just great people, access to great tools, and really motivating company.
Tell me about Ross Chastain, Phil Surge, and Daniel Suarez, Travis Mack right in front of you that we see there. How did you pair these guys up? You know, everything's about culture.
They are talking to Justin Marks, team owner of Trackhouse, by the way, right now.
Why did you pick those guys with those drivers?
Well, with Trackhouse, acquired Ganassi Racing last year. Phil and Ross are working together, and things are just starting to click for them. And we really didn't want to disrupt that chemistry. They were getting some momentum going. We really wanted to keep that team intact. And then when we started Trackhouse, it was really about finding a really, really motivated driver that really had something to prove in this sport, and a really motivated crew chief that had something to prove in this sport. That was Travis right here. We paired them together. They spent a couple dinners together and got to know each other. It just clicked right away. So they complement each other really, really well. And both teams work together really, really well. So, you know, we put a lot of emphasis on our people. We try to get really, really motivated people. And Phil and Travis never won before, never been to the playoffs before, and that was the same thing with both of our drivers. So they had that fire, they had that hunger, and just put them all together and stood back and watched it happen.
Well, buddy, it is fun to watch happen. Glad you're in this sport. You're a big part of it. You're on fire. I think that one car, he is without a doubt the car to beat. So good luck.
Appreciate you guys. Stay warm up there.
Justin Marks for Trackhouse Racing. We're with Tyler Reddick. That is Alex Bowman, last year's winner here just ahead. This race is for 12th place, and they're pulled right in on Ryan Blaney. Up front, William Byron has led 40 laps, the most he's ever led in a Las Vegas Cup race. He's a half a second ahead of teammate Kyle Larson.
And Larson has definitely reeled him in over the last handful of laps while they were interviewing Justin Marks. Cut the lead down from 1.3 seconds to a half a second even. Top 10 as of right now with a little over 20 laps to go in the first stage. Has William Byron still in the race lead. Kyle Larson, as mentioned, a half a second off the lead in second place. Ross Chastain in third. Christopher Bell in fourth. And Denny Hamlin is fifth. Martin Truex Jr. in sixth place. Brad Keselowski seventh. Bubba Wallace eighth. Kyle Busch ninth. And Joey Logano rounds out the top 10. Doesn't seem like Busch's car is completely out of whack after getting into the outside wall. Had a loose moment middle of the stage just before those green flag pit stops took place. Ended up apparently knocking the steering out of place to where I guess the steering wheel is not aligned correctly like it was at the start, of course. So some issues there. Curious to see if they'll just kind of wing it until the end of the stage, or if we get a caution, whatever comes first, then maybe they'll try to go to work on that 8 car, but more on that obviously developing as we continue on. Thomas Hernandez, thanks for tuning into the stream. Pete Creamer, welcome in as well. So we can't tell interval-wise either how far apart anybody is on this leaderboard. If you're just tuning into this stream for the first time, for one, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live commentary streams for all 3 series on the race weekend, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. Had a triple header this weekend for Las Vegas. Usually we have the raw feed on NASCAR's website. It shows all the statistical analysis, live lap leaderboard, and some other stuff, lap times, obviously, what the lap is, intervals between drivers. But it is not available for us so far most of the way through stage 1. So I keep going back in, refreshing. I'm doing what I can. I really can't do anything. I'm not in control of NASCAR's website. Just a technical issue that has come across today. We have not had that issue at all this season or this weekend. So apologize for that. Hopefully it'll be up and running soon. Happened to Josh Berry, starting position. I'm not sure where he qualified exactly. I can't remember. He's in 25th right now. He didn't have a penalty, though. Remember, this is his first race in a next-gen car, too. So, I wasn't really expecting too much. This is his 3rd career Cup start, but hasn't made one since 2021. I'm pulling for Blaney to get it done, too. Penske cars fell off. They started 1st and 3rd. Logano was on the pole. Blaney qualified 3rd. They quickly fell outside the top 10 and are running 12th and 15th late in this stage. No cautions yet. 60 laps complete. 20 to go yet in stage 1. Byron continues to lead through the commercial break, and it's still a half a second over his teammate Larson. 4.5 seconds ahead of 3rd place Ross Chastain. So that is the intervals there. Bell in 4th and Hamlin is 5th. Truex in 6th, Bubba Wallace 7th, Kyle Busch up to 8th, Keselowski fell back to 9th during the commercial break, and Alex Bowman now has cracked the top 10 in 10th. So the only non-Hendrick Chevrolet in the top 10 would be rookie Josh Berry, filling in for Chase Elliott this weekend. Unaware of exactly who is in the free pass position right now.
Wallace.
Quick radio communications there at the 23 team. Ryan Blaney continues to lose positions. Michael McDowell going to get around him. Remember, Blaney was the first car onto pit road as well, so now he has slightly older tires on the back half of this run.
Way down on grip. I was going to say, you heard Bubba Wallace, telling him he really wasn't happy with the front of his car. That thing's fast. Him and his teammate, all these Toyotas came to play.
That was quick communications, by the way, just before Boyer started talking on Ryan Blaney and that 12 team losing some tire grip once again. A lot of drivers complaining about some tight conditions, especially those in traffic. Two drivers who probably haven't had many complaints would be Kyle Larson and William Byron, who have dominated this race today. Logano did lead the first 9 laps before losing the lead to Byron. Reddick led some laps during green flag pit stops as well as a couple other drivers, but Byron has by far dominated this race so far, at least in the laps led category, with his teammate Larson close behind. Larson has not led a lap yet today. And pitted, I believe, a lap before Byron. Didn't really close the gap as a result of that. Kind of stayed 1.2 to 1.3 seconds back. Closed in a little over a half a second there for a few laps before stalling out once he got about a half a second behind him. They're running different lanes, so it's not like it's the traffic that's holding Larson up. I think he just kind of stagnated once he caught up. It's 24, and the 5 cars have to be so equal on speed, of course, with being teammates. So it looks like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., first car lap down, make that Ryan Preece in the 41 will now be the first car lap down in 24th, as Byron will work his way around him on the outside with 14 laps to go in stage 1. Side-by-side commercial break this time, so we'll keep our coverage going. Again, your top 10 currently in stage 1, William Byron in the lead, Kyle Larson in 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd, Christopher Bell is 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th, Martin Truex Jr. in 6th place, Bubba Wallace 7th, Kyle Busch in 8th, Alex Bowman 9th, and Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 10 so far. Lap 68 of 267 thus far. Byron started in that 2nd place position. Larson started 6th. Larson was fastest in practice yesterday, though. Was 5th in his first round of qualifying. 5th fastest of the first round of qualifying, and then ended up 6th in the 2nd round. Eric Jones has moved up the leaderboard, started outside the top 20 up to 14th. Biggest mover of the race so far, Tyler Reddick, who started 34th, is up to 11th after no practice time. Could not qualify yesterday, had to make an engine change mid-practice. So they did not get that car out in time to get any sort of practice laps with the new engine. But looking pretty good here. Definitely having his best run of the early going of the race and the early going of the season. His first year with 2311 Racing. Of course, the Toyotas at 2311, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, so strong. I guess Kurt Busch, really, for most of that season, so strong last year on the 1.5 mile racetracks. That's where Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch got their only wins last year, both at the Kansas Speedway. This is a cookie-cutter track, probably most similar to Kansas in shape, with the tri-oval being about the same length. Multi-groove racetrack from the bottom all the way to the top near the wall. A little less banking at Kansas, so it's a little more progressive there than what it is here at Las Vegas. Similar surface as far as how many years are on it. Vegas maybe a little bit more worn out. We'll both produce some pretty good racing. Field's been fairly spaced apart here in the early going outside of the two Hendrick cars leading the field. There's a close battle for third right now between Ross Chastain and Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin's creeped into that battle, and he looks to the inside of Bell now for fourth place through turns 3 and 4. They'll be side by side on the front stretch for position. Stage points will be awarded soon to the top 10, 1 point per position, with 10 points going to the stage winner, as well a playoff point awarded for the stage winner. Hamlin is going to clear Christopher Bell on the back straightaway. Much better run on the inside, even off the exit of the corner. Bell did not get off turn 2 well. I almost wonder if he lifted because of the lack of speed he had down the straightaway despite running the outside and Hamlin down on the bottom underneath him. Could have potentially let him go. No, and Hamlin may have a shot to catch Chastain before the end of the stage as well. We'll see if he'll have enough time to do it. Yeah, Chevy's 1, 2, 3. And then Toyota's 4 through 7. Two Chevys 8th and 9th. And Keselowski the only Ford in the top 10 right now. And Logano and Blaney are back to 13th and 15th on the grid. I was wrong about the JGR cars coming into this race. They definitely have speed in the early going. Byron has slowly gapped Larson to about a 9/10 of a second lead now. A pace of a little less than a half a tenth quicker a lap over the average of the last 8 laps. Seeing where his interval is now versus where it was with about 14 to go in the stage. We'll be seeing some pit stops during the stage break as well. There were quite a few drivers that pitted just before the halfway mark of this stage, so they've had to go the back half of the stage on a little bit older tires than what they did at the start. Blaney was the first to pit, and he pitted at lap 33. Make this final run about 47 laps for him. Fuel window 48 to 52 laps today. Eric Jones making a pass on Logano over the last lap and a half for 13th place and quickly running down the next car in front of him. Might be a lapper if I'm not mistaken. Quite a few drivers going a lap down in this opening stage at the hands of William Byron. Irving Pike, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for Kyle Busch to get a big comeback here. Big comeback meaning that he hit the wall again earlier in the run. No major damage to the race car. It appears affecting his speed. He was running about 7th or 8th when the contact happened, and he's currently 9th. The only thing that really happened was all the Toyotas kind of migrated to the front of the field.
Earlier on, though, no issues right now. Actually likes that car better now than he did the first run of the race. Only issue, he's just got the right rear of the car a little bit too hot. Needs the front tires to work better also.
That was a quick update on Kyle Busch, as we were just talking about a moment ago. Slowly creeping up on Bubba Wallace for 8th. I don't know if he's going to get there in time. We have just 2 laps to go now in this opening stage. The 2020 spring race went caution-free. The only cautions were the actual stage breaks themselves, so this is not unique for Las Vegas in recent years to have these long green flag runs drawn out in the spring race. Seems like the fall race in recent years have been the races at Vegas that have drawn the most yellows. Ryan Blaney has fallen all the way back to 20th, 17 spots dropped from the start of the race. Harvick now starting to free fall over the last handful of laps. Logano and Jones have both gotten around him. He falls to 14th. Right back where he started. Green-white checkered flag in the air. William Byron has won stage number 1 today. That'll be his first playoff point of the season. His first stage win to go along with it. Kyle Larson is going to end up second in the stage. Third place, Ross Chastain. Christopher Bell, 4th. Denny Hamlin, 5th. Martin Truex Jr. in 6th. Alex Bowman, 7th. Bubba Wallace, 8th. Kyle Busch, 9th. And Brad Keselowski will round out the top 10, all receiving stage points in the first 80 laps of today's race. David Cormier, thanks for tuning in also. Hopefully NASCAR's raw feed is working right now. I don't think it is. Nope. Got nothing. Hopefully it gets working here pretty soon because we're clicking through this race pretty quickly with it being caution-free. We'll have pit stops on the other side of Fox's commercial break. We'll stay right here for right now on our stream. Spotlight drivers coming into the race where they finished at the end of stage 1. We'll start off with the must-have picks that I had guaranteed to finish in the top 10. Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, they're second and third. My pick to win the race today was Kyle Larson, in fact, as well. Running in the Logano in the 13th place position outside the top 10 after qualifying on the pole today, but he's got some time to try to make that up. And the don't have picks coming into today's race that I picked not to finish in the top 10. Daniel Suarez, 16th, has been outside the top 15 the whole race so far. Chris Buescher as well has been right around there, 15th place for him. Fords have not looked very good at all. And then Denny Hamlin up to 5th place. Finished 32nd at Vegas last year. Mentioned also in the pre-race, he only has 7 top 10 finishes in the last 16 races at Las Vegas. So not as consistent at this racetrack. Off to a good start. We'll see how those Toyotas will fare as the race goes on. Chevys, though, at the very top of the leaderboard right now. Mainly the Hendrick Chevys looking quick. Alex Bowman gained a lot of positions at the end of that stage during that second stint after the first pit stop. If he can gain some time on pit row, which we know that 48 picture has been very good in recent years, he could be up there in contention with Larson, Byron as well. There was about a 6.5 second gap between Kyle Larson in second and Ross Chastain in third at the end of the stage, with those first 80 laps going caution-free as well. Villanor, thanks for tuning in. NASCAR leaderboard working here. What, on the website? It's not working for me on my laptop. I've tried logging out of the website, refreshing the page a bunch of times. It's down on my end. The NASCAR app might be working, but I can't actually show you guys that on my screen. Henrik Fernando, thanks for tuning in. Show instant replays? I don't think so. I feel like there has to be a specific amount of time that has to pass before you could show like a replay. Like, I can't show the replay as it's happening on Fox because that's still the live coverage. I think as long as the race is going on, I can't show that. I don't want to take the risk either. Because if the stream gets taken down, obviously you guys won't be able to see it. And then also, I will not get any ad revenue off of the entire stream as well. It's stupid how it works. It's like, it's not like I could just trim that part of the stream out at the end. It's just like I just don't get monetized for the entire stream if that something like that happens for copyright. So yeah, raw feed isn't working. It just sends you right to the Xfinity Series race from yesterday every time I click on something similar to it on the website. Yeah, the app tends to work a little bit better. So we'll be having some pit stops here once the field makes their way off of turn 4. And you guys will get to listen in to all the adjustments for your favorite Cup drivers. Byron Larson in, as well as the rest of the lead lap cars.
Good point. Here we go.
Lead lap cars are in. Here's Regan.
Like the 5 of Kyle Larson, happy from the driver's seat right now. At the end of that run, though, we made note that the car started getting too loose over the bumps with the rear of it. And the one car, Ross Chastain, first run that car was tight. It has swung the opposite direction now, complaining about being too loose for him. The rear tires were gone off of it. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr., remember last week they lost a wheel, so 2 of the crew members are suspended. We have fill-ins for rear changer and Jackman. Got a little bit too tight there. The 24 too tight in dirty air. Needs a little bit more turn, Mike.
Unbelievably fast stops for the Hendrick Chevys of William Byron and Kyle Larson. Larson's pit crew 9.9, William Byron 9.4 seconds for a 4-tire stop. That puts them back into the first and second place positions where they were running at the end of stage 1. Denny Hamlin gains 2 spots on pit road. One of the biggest gainers in the pits. Chastain fell back to 4th as a result. You got to cue up William Byron from the Fox booth right now.
Started on the front row and haven't looked back bad fast with this 24 car. It looks tough on the paint scheme. Definitely tough on the old lap time ticker. What do you got?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think Kyle was really good there too. So got a couple good Hendrick Chevys and feel good about it. So just kind of keep adjusting on the racetrack. A little loose first run, a little tight second run. So the lap traffic is definitely dynamic and kind of plays a factor in your lane choice. So just kind of keep it rolling.
Is there any line that's maybe looser or tighter out there? Cool thing about this track, you can move around high and low, up against the wall, and then the bumps in 1 and 2.
Yeah, honestly, just the wind is such a big factor right now. Like, you feel it kind of push you off in the corner, and you get that RPM going down the back straightaway. So that's what I feel.
All right, buddy. Thanks for your time. Good luck out there.
Appreciate it.
William Byron, stage 1 winner. We mentioned Tyler Reddick. He came into the pits 11th and...
Amazing Gamer, welcome into the stream also. Bush's car isn't as good as last week's, but he has a chance. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not as good as last week's, but he's been in the top 10 the whole race. He's having a solid run. I do believe he lost some spots on pit road, though. I'll wait another, at least until it scores lap 85 on my screen. Might be a little, I think it is off from the pit stops, because Chastain came out of the pits 4th. Byron won the race out of the pits, but Larson was 2nd. He's not scored in 2nd right now. So our leaderboard on NBC Sports' website, still waiting to get updated right now. Les Larson had a speeding penalty, which would be a very Kyle Larson thing to do, but I don't think that that is the case. Because we don't have the raw feed either, I don't know who got the free pass during the stage break. Raw feed is up for you. I mean, congratulations. It's not for me. A couple of you guys in the chat keep saying it's up for you guys, but it's definitely not up for me. No, I don't have anything. I swear, man. This website never ceases to amaze me. I wish there was a more reliable site. I mean, it's nice when it works. The problem is we've had these issues in the past. It happened a lot during the playoff races at the end of last season. We haven't had any issues with it this year through any of the 3 series until today, unfortunately. Just over 100 people watching still, though. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. We're going to try to run this like counter up. We're at 63 right now. I think for the Xfinity race yesterday, we had just under 150. I think we ended up at 147, 148. So we have a chance to get to 200 if we can get around what we had watching at the end of the race. I think Priest got the free pass. Yeah, if I hear anything from it from the Fox booth, I'll let you guys know. I know Priest was right around the tail end of the lead lap. I remember him getting lapped with like 13, 14 to go. That's qualifying. Yeah, so here is the running order right now on the screen. 23 in the lead lap, so yes, Ryan Preece did get the free pass. Josh Berry is the first car lap down with Austin Dillon. With him, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs had that pit road penalty. He was in the top 10 before that, so he's got a fast car if he can get back on the lead lap, potentially have a top 10 finish. Yeah, Eric Jones looking pretty strong, just outside the top 10 at the end of stage 1.
Not been nosed in as much, right? Could have been further out of the box or to the right. Yeah, definitely had room to turn back out. We're probably a couple feet, I think, inside the box.
Yeah, you can't really see it from here, but he's definitely at the wrong angle. 45-degree angle pointed in. Couldn't get out of the box. You can see the time lost. Very costly here. This car is extremely fast, mowed up through the fields. Can't go backwards at this point. Everybody's going to get better. Clean up their mistakes. His 45's fast, though.
Here we come to the choose, and William.
Yeah, so Tyler Reddick ended up losing about 9 spots on pit road, was 11th at the end of the last stage, and he'll be restarting 20th, as you heard moments ago from Clint Boyer. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for a good qualifying effort, I think Ryan Blaney would have ended up going a lap down before the end of that first stage. He was in 20th at the end of stage number 1. They'll be going green this time by. Field's already gone through the choose cone area of the racetrack on the front stretch as they have set themselves up for this restart. William Byron will elect the inside lane. Kyle Larson going to be on the outside of road number 1. Road number 2 will have Denny Hamlin on the inside. And to his outside, was waiting to see. Looks like Ross Chastain. Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell in row 3. Coming into the Geico restart zone, about to start stage 2, following our first caution of the race being the stage break itself. Byron getting the launch green flag back in the air. Full car length clear of Kyle Larson already as they cross the start-finish line. The 5 did not take off well on the top lane despite the 1 trying to give him a push to get going. Denny Hamlin is on the inside of Kyle Larson for second, and Byron easily clear off the exit of the corner. 3 wide for about 6th place between Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr. Wallace in the middle lane. Bowman on the bottom, and Truex up near the wall on the outside. 23 trying to pinch the 48 off on the bottom. That's not going to allow Bowman to get a very good exit to the corner. He'll stay alongside the 23. Truex clears everybody on the top, and now Keselowski with a run will give the 23 a push on the front stretch. Jones sandwiched 3 wide middle between Kyle Busch and I believe it might have been Chris Buescher on the inside of him, just outside the top 10. Larson still trying to hold on for second. A heap of cars around him. All the Joe Gibbs Toyotas are there. Still side by side is Hamlin and Larson. 3 wide for 4th place between Bell, Truex, and Chastain. Bubba Wallace forcing himself into the middle lane now, trying to get underneath the 1 car with still a driver underneath him of Bowman. Truex holding his lane pretty well off the exit of the corner. Larson finally clears Hamlin, immediately throws a block halfway down the back straightaway to cut to the bottom into turn 3. Hamlin has to go to the outside and might have had an awkward entry into the corner. Didn't get off of turn 4 very well. Chastain almost making contact with Truex on the outside, finally clearing the two JGR Toyotas of Bell and Truex underneath him. Bowman is finally cleared Bubba Wallace. Wallace trying to crossover move into turn 1 down to the bottom. He goes as he battles the 48 for a spot still. Ross Chastain down to the bottom underneath of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin gonna be unable to, I should say Chastain gonna be unable to make the pass on Hamlin. He will stay underneath him though into the tri-oval and he'll try it again in turns 1 and 2. Looks like he's got a little bit better dive off into the corner that time. Can he win the race back to the throttle? Yes, he does, and Chastain is up to 3rd. Right where he finished at the end of stage 1. Hamlin still had a net gain of 1 spot from where he was at the end of the last stage and where he is running currently. A lot of the running order, though, maintains the same inside the top 10. Maybe one position here or there has been changed from the race start and pit stops, but that's about it. Larson's about 0.8 of a second off his teammate, William Byron, who continues to lead. Byron has already led over 80 laps in this race today, and we're not even 100 laps in. Truex going to be able to get a run on Denny Hamlin off turn 2, cleared him on the backstretch, and heads right to the bottom into turns 3 and 4 to quickly pull away from the 11. He's the second highest running Toyota behind his teammate Christopher Bell in 4th. Bell still putting pressure on Chastain for the battle for 3rd place. And with all the Toyotas, pretty much nose to tail, you got Bowman in between the 11 and the 23. Top 3 cars all around the bottom lane. Hamlin the first car on the outside through turns 3 and 4 that time. Looks like there's a little bit of contact further back in the pack around Ty Gibbs, Austin Dillon, and Corey LaJoie when they were 3 wide first lap or 2 after the restart. Everybody continues on. Little damage for all cars. Full field running order here at the beginning of Stage 2 looks like this. You got William Byron in the race lead, Kyle Larson 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd, Christopher Bell is 4th, Martin Truex Jr. in 5th place, Denny Hamlin in 6th, Alex Bowman 7th, Bubba Wallace 8th, Brad Keselowski 9th, Kyle Busch is 10th, Eric Jones in 11th, Kevin Harvick in 12th, 13th is Tyler Reddick, 14th Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez at 15th, Chris Buescher at 16th, Ryan Blaney 17th, AJ Allmendinger 18th, 19th is Justin Haley, Eric Almirola 20th. Corey LaJoie 21st, 22nd is Austin Cindric, Ryan Preece 23rd, 24th is Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon 25th, Josh Berry 26th, 27th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chase Briscoe 28th, Ty Gibbs 29th, Harrison Burton is 30th, Noah Gragson in 31st, Ty Gillen 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, 34th is J.J. Yeley, B.J. McLeod 35th, and Cody Ware bringing up the rear of the field. And 36, all 36 cars, I do believe, at least are in this race still through 97 of 267 laps, as we're 17 laps into Stage 2. Second stage, just 5 laps longer than Stage 1. And the final stage will be about 17 laps, 23 laps longer than the second stage, 28 laps longer than the first stage. Check the NASCAR website real quick again. Don't think we have anything. Yeah, if it was working, I shouldn't even have to refresh the page. I should be able to just go back and hit it. That's what's happened before, at least. I just refreshed the page just to try something different. Don't forget, if you're in the Fantasy League, to be sure that your lineups are going to be adjusted accordingly at the end of Stage 2. It does lock. And if you're not in the Fantasy League yet, you can join on the NASCAR mobile app or website for free. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. If you win the regular season or playoff championship, all you have to do is search for KRC League. I'll put it in the chat real quick. KRC League. It's the name of the league when you sign up. Just need your email. Again, it is free to join. Ryan Blaney's picked up a couple positions for where he finished at the end of stage 1 to 17th. Logano, 14th place. After starting on the pole, I believe he was 13th at the end of stage 1. Tyler Reddick restarted 20th after finishing 11th at the end of stage number 1, is up to 13th. William Byron pulled away a bit through the commercial break. He's now 1.8 seconds ahead of Larson. There's contact between Chris Buescher and Daniel Suarez, two of our don't have picks getting together off of turn 2, and Buescher got squeezed into the outside wall. Both cars still in this, as they currently run in 15th and 16th. Make that 16th and 17th. Josh Berry got up into the outside wall in a 3-wide battle off turn 2 as well, showing a bunch of replays that happened both on the restart and during the commercial break. Everybody that has scraped the wall or made contact to racing laps still on the track. I don't think any of them actually lost any laps, had to come to pit road to service their car because of any cut tire or anything. We saw drivers pit at about 33 lap mark of stage number 1. The stage is an extra 5 laps, so probably look more towards around lap 37, 38 before we see the first drivers pit under green flag conditions here, which would only be about 10 or less laps away from now. Byron still clicking away faster laps than Kyle Larson. He's timed his restarts out well when he's been out at the front. He led all but the first 9 laps and a couple laps during green flag pit stops. It's been all that 24 car. Great job by his pit crew to win him the race off pit road as well. Got to give credit to them, and also making a clean stop during the green flag stops to stay out ahead of Larson, who was within a second and a half of him the entire first stage, but now Byron pulling away from him a little bit. Alex Bowman has also cracked the top 5 for Hendrick Motorsports during the commercial break. He's up to 5th, and he is within a half a second of 3rd place and 4th place of Chastain and Bell in front of him. Took a look to the inside of Bell that time through turns 3 and 4. Couldn't quite get there, and will have to stay in line behind him. Got a little battle for 4th place going on right now. Still in the first half of stage 2, and the late first half of the race. Prince Will Plays, thanks for tuning in. From New Jersey, Truex fan, of course. Awesome. Hometown guy, having a good run so far in 6, trying to go for 6 straight top 10s at Las Vegas.
Wide, no front turn in it. Keep in mind, the first set of tires that came off that 12 car, they had some cords. Maybe an issue developing there on the 12.
So there you go, some cording potentially going on the tires from the 12 of Ryan Blaney through stage 1. Still not getting any turn in that race car. Mentioned he just doesn't have any front tire grip. Over the radio earlier on, he has picked up 5 positions from where he finished at the end of the last stage. Actually looks a little bit quicker than Joey Logano, his teammate, as he's closing in on him for 14th right now as well. But obviously nowhere near the speed that they had yesterday in practice and qualifying. Much different track conditions today. Cooler temperatures, a lot more cloud coverage, and a little bit more wind than what took place yesterday. And it was still pretty windy throughout qualifying and practice as well, just not as windy as today. And with the change of track conditions, you can definitely tell that Team Penske has fell behind the setups right from the start of the race today. It was very noticeable that it was the Hendrick Chevys, Ross Chastain, and the Toyotas that are going to be tough to beat today, all running right now in the top 7, and then Keselowski, the only Ford inside the top dozen, in the top 11 before you go back to Harvick in 12th. Keselowski having a good weekend so far. He was fairly quick in practice and did qualify top 10. Actually, I think he qualified in 8th place, right where he is running right now, and he's been pretty much 7th through 9th the whole day. Finished 10th at the end of stage 1. Barely snuck in to get a stage point. He's in the top 16 in points through the first 2 races of the year. going to need a much more consistent season if he's going to want to make the playoffs without having to win a race. And obviously having that consistency for the start of 2023. Got another full screen commercial break going on right now. We'll go through the top 10 real quick. Again, William Byron is your race leader. Kyle Larson second. Ross Chastain is third. Alex Bowman fourth. Christopher Bell in fifth place. Martin Truex Jr. in sixth. Denny Hamlin seventh. Brad Keselowski eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. Kyle Busch is 10th. On top of that are spotlight drivers from the pre-race today. Must-haves. Kyle Larson in second. He was also my pick to win today's race. Ross Chastain in third. Joey Logano outside the top 10 right now in 14th. And then the three don't have picks. Two of them made contact off that last restart. They're running 16th and 17th. That would be Chris Buescher and Daniel Suarez. With Denny Hamlin in 7th. He was in 5th at the end of stage 1. So he's dropped back a little bit. Actually got up to 3rd initially on this restart as well. But starting to fade over this long run. Maybe made wrong adjustments or other drivers were able to stay ahead of the adjustments compared to the 11 car. Look at the poll I have in the chat. That'll close at the end of stage 2 as well for who you think is going to win today's race. 120 votes so far. You can still cast your vote. Again, you'll have to the end of stage 2 to do so. Kyle Busch at 35% leads the poll right now for who you think will win today's race. Again, he is in 10th. Other for the poll there at 28%, very close behind. Joey Logano at 21% outside the top 10, and Kyle Larson running in second right now and has been pretty much this entire race behind Byron is at 17%. Raw feed on NASCAR.com is still not up. Again, I apologize if that is not working. I have no control over that. That is usually what we use for statistical analysis for these live commentary streams. If you're new or returning, if you're returning, you would know that based off of the live commentary streams we've had for all 3 series so far this year. But appreciate you guys sticking it out anyway. And I'm doing the best I can to try to cover the race. But during the commercial breaks, I really don't have anything to give you guys because even this leaderboard on NBC's website is a little bit behind. And I mean, I know Hulu's a little bit behind, and this leaderboard's like 2 laps behind that. So there's no intervals either to really show. So 4 lead changes, 4 different leaders. Of course, Byron has by far led the most. Still 23 cars on the lead lap and the 1 caution for the stage break at the end of stage 1 on lap 80. Philip Moore, welcome into the stream. Brainer Martinez, Jim Troyer also welcome in. Alex Bowman moving his way up to 3rd through the commercial break, out by Bell and Chastain fell from 3rd to 5th as Christopher Bell remains in the 4th place position. Ryan Blaney very wiggly off turn 4 that time. Daniel Suarez underneath him. Surprised that Blaney was able to keep control of the car and still stay alongside Suarez. I thought with the shake that he was going to lose a lot of momentum, but I don't think he hopped out of the gas and stayed alongside him. Suarez finally completes the pass on the other end of the track through turns 1 and 2. Blaney was the first car to pit road the last time. I'm curious to see if he'll end up pitting this time as we're on lap 39, just shy of the halfway mark of the stage, which was about how many laps were left in stage 1 when he ended up pitting. Reddick got up to 13th pretty quickly after the restart, but he stalled out once he got to there. 15 seconds off the lead already as well. Byron's pace in this opening half of stage 2 is quicker than any pace he had during each tire stints in stage 1 during that long green flag run. He's over 2 seconds ahead of Larson. He never had a lead bigger than 1.3 seconds in the first stage over the 5 car. First car on pit road right now would be the 17 of Chris Buescher.
4 fresh tires and fuel at lap 120. That's 45 laps to the end of the stage. Go ahead.
Ross Chastain pitted a little bit later than others last time, but he's dropped back to 6th now from 3rd, so I wonder if we're going to see him pit earlier.
It's a good point by Danica. Truex has just passed him for the 5th place spot on the racetrack. Ty Gibbs is on pit road. He's still a lap down, of course, after having that pit road penalty for too many crew members over the wall on his stop.
Goes again. Front turn. Sideways. On entry. Second light switch.
No front turn.
And that's a hard thing to fix. If you don't have front turn, you're tight in the center of the corner, but you're snapping loose in and off. What direction do you go? Very hard thing to fix.
And he said like a light switch too, so obviously it's just hard to hit it. It is, I'm thinking just low grip, right? There's nothing to lean on either end. It's just once one goes, it's sudden for him. And I've had, sets of tires before, as you go and those start wearing out, again, it's like a light switch, lap 25 or whatever it is.
J.J. Yaley also on pit road. Larson now 3 seconds off of William Byron. Byron has pulled away 0.9 of a second. Just over the last handful of laps from Larson, so Larson's car maybe has flipped off like a switch. Still 7 seconds ahead of Alex Bowman as well, despite the Hendrick cars at the front of the field. Clearly, William Byron has the fastest of them in this race. 2 wins last year, but all in the first 7 races. Martin Truex Jr. in the pits.
In the pit window, Jamie.
Yeah, the 19 has been pretty decent overall, but during the middle of that run, he had a little bit of an issue, had a fuel pressure issue, and they told him to switch to fuel position 2, and it seemed to clear things up, so certainly keeping an eye and an ear on that as they go around the car on the left side. It's just fuel and 4 tires.
Christopher Bell now on his way to the pits from 4th.
Regan.
Like Christopher Bell was just a little bit too tight that
Chastain
last
is in
run
also.
to make time at the end. He needs a little bit of help to make the end of the run better. And the one car, Ross Chastain, that car was loose a run ago. Now it is swung back to tight. They're bouncing around back and forth with it.
Hendrick cars at the front of the field still on the racetrack. They have not pitted yet. Bubba Wallace is on pit road along with Kevin Harvick.
Larson's coming in pit road. Regan.
Larson's in also.
Clint Kyle Larson, always quiet on the radio, no different today, not very much from the driver's seat. Lots of updates from crew chief Cliff Daniels about when he is making time and where he's making time on the racetrack.
Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin all in the pits as well.
And the leader coming onto pit road.
Byron on his way in.
At lap 126, Byron is in. That'll hand the lead to Alex Bowman.
Nope, he's right behind him.
No.
Bowman on pit road.
Yep, Alex Bowman in the pits also.
Jamie.
Alex Bowman in the 48, he's been pretty quiet on the radio. That means this car is getting better and better. Definitely still on the tight side a little bit, but they've been able to make some gains. It'll be a 4-tire stop for the 48 and the 24. It's just been so stout today. Air pressure adjustment once again, and 4 tires for the 24. Good stuff. These guys have been on it today.
And everybody else who would have assumed the lead has come to pit road. Haley, Blaney, and Allmendinger.
So we'll see who is going to cycle back to the lead. Larson pitted a lap before both Bowman and Byron. Byron getting up to speed right now off of turn 2. Larson in the center of the corner still, and easily William Byron will regain the race lead following green flag pit stops. Larson will remain in second. Christopher Bell has jumped up to third. And the lead at the start-finish line this time by... Wait to see what the updated interval is. Despite pitting 1 lap before him, though, William Byron and that pit crew on it again. Doesn't look like he's giving up any of the lead. Fox heading to a full-screen commercial break right now. We'll take our next break as well. Waiting on the raw feed to come up. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. As we get into the second half of today's Pennzoil 400 at Vegas. Hey, look at that. The raw feed is up and available. It looks like we're under caution. But never mind. We are false alarm. False alarm. We are not under caution. I thought we were under caution for a second. It's during the commercial break, so I wouldn't have known. We've got the raw feed back up, though. Appreciate everybody sticking it out still. Hell, over 100 people watching. Nathan Jurek, welcome into the stream. Danica won an IndyCar race, but not a NASCAR race. Nope. Sharita Cooper, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for Rowdy. I have not played NASCAR Thunder 03. My first NASCAR game I ever played was NASCAR Thunder 2002. And then I started the classic game, video game playthrough NASCAR-wise a couple years ago when I first started the channel. And I played NASCAR Thunder 2004 onward. We're up to NASCAR 06 right now. And I have potentially just one more race left there, trying to win a Busch Series championship with Kyle Busch. And then we'll move on to NASCAR 07 after that. So it's kind of working upwards through the years, and you guys get to vote for which driver I'll be racing as for the Truck, Busch, and the Cup Series, and that comes around very shortly. Plan on doing that race within the next couple of nights. I think tomorrow we'll run NASCAR 22, which is supposed to be Bristol night race, and then we'll do that Busch race at California Speedway either Tuesday or Wednesday night. NASCAR Planet, welcome into the stream also. "25 cars on the lead lap." I do think there are some drivers that haven't pitted yet that are at the tail end of the lead lap, because there were only 23 in the lead lap when we started stage 2. Might have been some lap cars that stayed out hoping for a caution. Following the green flag pit stops, your top 10 has William Byron in the lead, Kyle Larson second, Christopher Bell third, Alex Bowman fourth, Ross Chastain is fifth, Bubba Wallace sixth, Martin Truex Jr. seventh, Brad Keselowski eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, and Denny Hamlin has dropped back to 10th. So that is the top 10 right now. Brett Whitesides, thanks for tuning in. Also a Kyle Busch fan. A lot of Kyle Busch fans in the chat once again today. Hence the reason he's probably leading our leaderboard right now. Again, the spotlight drivers and where they're running currently. The must-have picks, Ross Chastain in 5th. Kyle Larson, who was my pick to win today's race, in 2nd as well. And Joey Logano just outside the top 10, still in 14th. Then the don't have picks, who I had predicted at the very least to finish outside the top 10. Daniel Suarez 13th. He's been outside the top 10 all race. So is Chris Buescher. He is in 17th. And then Denny Hamlin is in 10th right now. He got up to 2nd at the start of this stage, or at least was battling side by side with Larson on the restart to stage number 2 for 2nd place, but then he has fallen back just a bit. Bubba Wallace really rocketing forward, trying to get by Chastain, currently in a battle for 5th. 30 laps to go yet in stage 2. Running the middle groove right now. Chastain not really able to keep up with the Hendrick Chevys that have been in front of him this whole race. Chastain finished 3rd at the end of stage 1. And he had top 3 finishes in both Vegas races with the next-gen car last year. Led at least 60 laps in both races, but today has yet to lead a lap in this race. Denny Hamlin going to gain one of those positions he lost during green flag pit stops as he passes Kyle Busch for 9th on the racetrack. Kyle Larson is slowly closing in on Byron during this green flag run following the pit stop, so maybe the right adjustments potentially made for that 5 team. He was over 3 seconds off the lead before his stop. Now he's cut the lead down to about 1.7 seconds. Still 28 laps to go in the stage, so plenty of time to try to catch him here if he can keep that pace up. Remember, the long run pacing is what came into play throughout the Xfinity race in the final stage yesterday, and even the truck race to a certain extent on Friday. The final stage in both races went caution-free, and this entire race so far has been caution-free. We're just over halfway home. No accidents or incidents bringing out a yellow, just the stage break. We know we're going to have at least one more caution with one more stage break yet as well. Byron now only a 1.5 seconds ahead of Larson. If I predict 3 winners correctly already this season, that would be insane. I know my stuff, but I thought 9 was going to be a tough number to beat. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that's a quarter of the season I predicted correct in 2020. That's hard to do when there's, 40 outcomes I know any given week you can't really rely on all of them to win, but you can rely on like a dozen drivers to potentially win every single weekend. I mean, you look at a season like last year where I didn't predict as many correct. I think I had 5 or 6 predicted correctly last year. I mean, that was a lot tougher, though, too, considering there were 20 different winners. It was tough on a week-to-week basis to figure out who was going to win the races. But now that we're in the second year with this car, got a little more statistical analysis to base, my picks off of, and who has had speed out of the gates this year have been running well on a consistent basis compared to the rest of the field. That has shown, I think, with the predictions so far. Because even the must-have predictions outside of my win picks, where I've gotten 2 right so far, must-haves that I give you guys fantasy lineups, potential betting advice for, at least top 10 runs. I'm 6 of 7 to start the year there. And so far today, Larson's in 2nd. Chastain is in 5th. Actually just got passed by Bubba Wallace for 5th place. So Chastain in 6th. And then I just mentioned Logano 15. So if it stays the way it is, though, I'm going to end up being 8 for 10. 80%. Sounds like Logano may have gotten into the wall off turn 4. A little bit of a scuff on the right rear corner panel of his car. Beautiful paint scheme, by the way, for Logano. My favorite of all cars in the field this weekend. It was actually right in the center of turns 3 and 4 where he got in the wall. Lost a spot to Tyler Reddick as a result. Drops it back to that 15th place position that I just mentioned. And again, all the don't have picks. Hamlin in 9th. Suarez in 12th. And Buescher's in 19th. Fox is going to another commercial break here. Voting poll up to 140 votes. Again, you got until the end of stage 2 to cast your vote. Kyle Busch at 33% leading the poll for who you think will win today's race. Of course, at his home track. Hottest driver in NASCAR coming into this Sunday race. Logano at 20%, Larson at 19%, and other at 29% still. Byron has dominated. He's led well over 120 laps in this race already. And honestly, it's going to be tough to beat him if you're not a Hendrick Chevy. Bowman made his way through the field in stage 1, stalled out when he got to about 7th, and then he kind of did the same thing here when he got to 3rd. Christopher Bell actually just caught and passed him during this commercial break for 3rd. So now Bell's in the 3 spot, 8 seconds off the lead still. Larson has cut his deficit down to just 9/10 of a second on William Byron. Last lap, he was only about 100th of a second quicker, though. Martin Truex Jr. got by Chastain as well during the commercial break for 6th. Chastain falls back to a race low 7th place spot during non-green flag pit stops, of course. Again, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already for this stream. Had consistently over 100 people watching for most of this race. And we are at 82 likes. Try to get to 150 today. We're just over halfway there and just over halfway through the race so far. 23 cars back on the lead lap again. Ty Gibbs is in the free pass position right now. Mentioned the Toyotas having great speed today. Specifically the Joe Gibbs Toyotas, because the other 3 are in the top 10. Gibbs was in the top 10, qualified 4th, was running about 8th before those first green flag pit stops at stage 1, but his pit crew had too many men over the wall, causing a penalty. He had to come back onto pit road for a pass-through, and that put him a lap down at the end of stage 1. As a result, he couldn't get that lap back. He was just out of the free pass position, but now he has raced his way to there. The problem is, the longer we stay green, the more cars are going to go lap down before the end of stage 2, which is going to mean that he's going to have to pass those cars also. Looks like Austin Cindric is very close to going a lap down right now. Josh Berry has just been lapped, but I believe he's gone 2 laps down. And actually, Gibbs might even be 2 laps down in 24th. Actually, Gibbs is just 1 lap down. Our monitor's a little bit off. Barry is 2 down, though, because Byron just passed him on the other side of the commercial break. Larson now just 0.6 of a second off the lead. Bowman put the fight back to Christopher Bell after Bell caught past him during the break. It looks like Bowman will pass the 20 back on the outside off of turn 2. A couple of dirt track racers battling for position inside the top 5. Truex also breaking the top 5 for the first time today, getting by Bubba Wallace. He's the second highest Toyota in the field. Keselowski back in the top 10 as well, in ninth. Dropped back after green flag pit stops. Kyle Busch had gotten into the wall off turn 2. Second time he has been in the wall today. The first time was off the exit of turn 4 at stage 1, and now he grazes the wall. Stage 2, turn 2. Not as hard of a hit that time as what he had very early in the race, though. And Gibbs is 1 lap down, by the way. The problem is, though, so is Austin Cindric now. So Cindric is going to be in the free pass spot, 15 laps to go, stage 2. And I think Gibbs is too far back to try to catch him. He just hasn't gotten a caution for incident to help him get back on the lead lap following that mistake from his pit crew. Which is tough because I think he would have a top 10 car considering where all the other Joe Gibbs cars are in the top 8 right now. And he was right there too. Not all in the driver's hands though, and in that case it definitely isn't either. Ton of lap traffic though in front of the 24 car of William Byron. Kyle Larson now just 0.3 of a second off the race lead. Byron at the outside, Larson towards the middle. A lot of lap cars down on the bottom. Looks like Chris Buescher's about to go a lap down as well. Ryan Preece just in front of the leaders. And they may try to battle the 24, knowing that we're very late in the stage, which is going to definitely help Larson. With Byron being the leader, because once the 24 gets around, they're not going to battle the second place car quite as hard. Keselowski, Hamlin, side by side for 8th on the racetrack. Hamlin on the outside, Keselowski down to the bottom. Off the exit of turn 2, the 11 might have gotten into the wall. Tough to tell for sure. Keselowski got to clear him though, and so will Kyle Busch now to move back into 9th. Mistake from Hamlin, definitely lifted off turn 2. I don't know if he actually got in the wall or not. Tough to tell from his onboard camera, but Kyle Busch all clear off turn 4. Hamlin looking for the crossover. Busch with a block and then moves to the bottom. Hamlin now with a run to the outside of the 8 on the front stretch. Into turns 1 and 2 they go. Busch down to the white line. Hamlin in the middle trying to pinch Kyle Busch's corner exit off. And Hamlin will get right back by the 8 for 9th place again. And he is a couple tenths behind Keselowski, quickly trying to regain that 8th place position back once more. Kevin Harvick is now close behind Kyle Busch, trying to sneak in there and get a stage point before the end of stage 2. William Byron in the lead, Kyle Larson 2nd, Alex Bowman 3rd, Christopher Bell 4th, Mark Truex Jr. is your top 5. And this is definitely the closest battle for the lead we have seen pretty much all race since Byron took the lead away from Joey Logano back on lap 10. Larson got a bit loose, though, off turn 2, and he's going to lose a bit of ground on the back straightaway. Might have overdrove the race car just a little bit too much as he sees the 24 car getting closer and closer and closer out of his windshield. Ryan Preece in the 41 trying to hang on to the lead lap with 9 laps left now in stage 2. Byron to the inside of the 41. Sends it off into the corner and clears Ryan Preece. That wiggle off turn 2 for Larson, it allowed Byron to run a lap time about 0.2 of a second quicker than the 5. Billy Carjoy, welcome into the stream. Alex Bowman is already pulled away 3 seconds from Bell. Bell caught past him, and then Bowman got back around him and quickly pulled away from Bell. It's almost like Bell's car just started to cliff all of a sudden. Truex is only 0.8 of a second behind him for 4th. And now Bowman's only 6.2 seconds off the lead. Actually, Alex Bowman's been the fastest car on the track the last handful of laps in 3rd. He's not going to have enough time to get to the leaders before the end of the stage, but he is running 37s while the leaders are running 39s and 31-1s of Byron and Larson as they get through heavy lap traffic. Byron has gapped Larson a little bit again. 0.9 of a second is the difference at the start-finish line with 7 to go that last time by. Corey LaJoie going to go a lap down now in 20th, leaving A.J. Allmendinger as the last car in the lead lap. His colleague teammate Justin Haley right in front of him in 18th. And LaJoie just trying to hang on to the free pass position now ahead of Ryan Preece, who's a couple seconds behind him. Kyle Busch has fallen outside the top 10 late in the stage, now back to 12th. Harvick covers that 10th spot. And Suarez just behind him in 11th. Yeah, one thing I've noticed as they're talking about SHR in the broadcast right now, Chase Briscoe was outside the top 30 last week. Ryan Preece was just in front of him most of the race. That's the same thing again here. Briscoe 28, 2 laps down. Preece just fell a lap down in 21st. Those two were not off to a good start. They were both outside the top 30 in points after 2 races, and they're not going to really move forward after today's race either. Now, we do go to Phoenix next week, which is where Briscoe won at. And the Fords were very strong on the flat tracks last season. It'll be interesting to see if that will be the case again this year also. Blue Oval swept both Phoenix races. They won a Gateway. There's going to be some strong racetracks for them this season again. And we'll see if that'll be the case here in the spring next week. Don't forget daylight saving times next week for anybody that has to change their clocks. I just found out about that today. It kind of slipped by me. Or 2 days ago. Slipped by me, though. I was like, oh, shoot. Well, I'll lose an hour. That means there's one less hour we have to wait till they drop the green flag next week, though. So, looking at the bright side of things, that's good. Hamlin Keselowski battling for 8th place again on the track. Truex also battling Christopher Bell for position with 3 laps to go in Stage 2. Larson a full second now behind Byron. Byron's picked his pace back up once he got back through the lap traffic. He's back to being the fastest car on the track again. Ran a 38.28 that last lap. About a 10th quicker than both Larson and Bowman, his teammates behind him in 2nd and 3rd. Hamlin has gotten by Keselowski, clear off turn 4 and up to 8th. And Truex has also cleared Bell off of turn 2 for 4th. One lap to go now at Stage 2 for Byron. A calm race thus far through 165 laps in the first 2 stages. But will the final 100 bring? Byron going to sweep the stages today. That'll be 20 stage points towards the regular season standings. It'll be a 2nd stage win of the season. And we'll see if he'll be able to win the race as well. Chastain won Stage 1 and 2 last week at Auto Club, but finished in 3rd. We'll see what he'll do. Byron will do here today. So our second caution of the race is out. Stage 2 break. Full stage breaks, the only cautions. No yellows for incident. William Byron wins the stage by 0.4 of a second over Kyle Larson, who ends up 2nd. Alex Bowman 3rd. Martin Truex Jr. 4th. And Christopher Bell will be 5th. Bubba Wallace 6th, Ross Chastain 7th, Denny Hamlin 8th, Brad Keselowski 9th, and Kevin Harvick will round out the top 10, all receiving stage points in the 2nd stage. In the Pennzoil 400 today, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. No tours, welcome in the stream also. And to Stage 2, time to show a diecast off, just as we are doing every live commentary stream throughout the course of this year. And it is the Pennzoil 400. So, fitting enough, I have a Pennzoil paint scheme. It is not Joey Logano, though. It is Ryan Blaney. It is the same scheme that he raced. This is from 2018, but this is the same exact scheme he ran during the Charlotte Roval race and won at in 2018 as well. It doesn't have the emoji on the side of it. I didn't want the race win diecast because I didn't like the emojis on the side of the cars. I think they look kind of ugly, honestly. But I did like the paint scheme. This was one of my favorites from him this season. Actually, it probably was my very favorite of him this season. I've heard a lot of compliments that this car is very ugly during the 2018 season, that they didn't like it. I actually did like it, not just because I'm a Blaney fan. Like I said, it was my favorite he ran this season, and I mean, he had some good paint schemes. Throughout the course of the year, a lot of people liked this PPG scheme. I liked it too, but I like this a little bit better. But yeah, this is one of my older Blaney diecasts. Ryan Blaney diecasts, at least. So that is a diecast showing off here during our Stage 2 break on the stream. But yeah, 2018 would be the year. You can tell because it's Gen 6. I got the small spoiler still. Monster Energy logo. I mean, I guess that means it could have been 2017 still, but it wasn't. It was 2018. I can confirm. Well, Blaney wasn't even in the 12 card 2017, so it'd have to be 2018. Alrighty. So we'll be having pit stops on the other side of Fox's commercial break. I will end the poll in the chat. 157 votes. And after 157 votes, the fan vote for who will win today's race is Kyle Busch at 31%. 29% said other, 19% with Larson, 18% with Logano through the 157 votes. So thanks for everybody voting. I did not have that up in the community tab, so I apologize for it. So I had it up during the race, but similar amount of votes that we would usually get, and Kyle Busch ends up winning it. Even mid-race, I'm surprised that Busch still won it, considering he's been in the top 10 most of the day, just not up there with the likes of Larson and Byron. Even Bowman up to third now. It's definitely a Hendrick-dominated day thus far. Just missing Josh Berry, who's taken over for Elliott, but Berry was stuck a lap down at the end of stage 1, and with the lack of cautions, these guys have not been able to get their laps back. Corey LaJoie gets the free pass in 20th, so he'll be back on the lead lap at the end of this stage. Byron has led 154 laps already today, and we still have one more stage to go. He's on pace to lead over 200 and really close to 250 laps, really, in this race if he can continue to lead all the way from now to the end. Remember, though, we did see Chandler Smith lead over 100 laps of the 200 in yesterday's Xfinity race and still lost it coming to the white flag on a long green flag run in the final stage where Austin Hill caught, ran him down. Even Allgaier passed him as well for second on the final lap. Smith ended up finishing third, just didn't have a long run car at the end. Byron's had a long run car, though, all day today, I will say, versus Chandler Smith in the Xfinity race yesterday. Seemed to fade on the long run at the end of stage 2 and the end of stage 3, so it was kind of... it was a shock considering he had a 3-second lead with about 20 to go that he just lost it all of a sudden, but it also kind of wasn't a shock because we had seen that earlier in the race as well. In less laps, he ended up falling back to about 6th. We'll see. Pit stops could shake the running order up. We haven't seen Larson or Byron back in traffic at all today, so this is maybe the last opportunity for somebody else who has been in the top 5 most of the day, top 10 all day, to try to take an advantage, get the track position, and see what they can do with the clean air. Larson with 18 stage points today. If he gets a good finish, that's awesome for him. He was 24th in points. And even Byron, coming into this race, was 29th in points after the first 2 races, so Byron and Larson needed this kind of a good run today, and they absolutely have, running first and second the entire race nearly. Outside of green flag pit stops, it pretty much has been the entire race. And here come the leaders into the pits.
He's 168 laps done out of 267.
It's a good thing because throwing the flag is just a figure of speech after all. Here we go.
So many are.
All right, Regan, pit stops.
By Christopher Bell in the 20 car was close, 1 run to go. This run, though, the report from the driver is the car got too loose, needs an adjustment for that. The 5 of Kyle Larson, tighter overall the entire second stage, according to him, and he said that they're trying to figure out where they think the track's going to go as the sun gets a little bit brighter right now. Told to save fuel immediately when he leaves pit road. Jamie?
Alex Bowman in the 48, a little bit tight at the end of the run like he's been all day, but he said, I can make this car do anything I want. These Hendrick drivers getting more confident as they go. 24 took a little bit bigger swing just to help him not get so tight in lap traffic.
Another 9.4 second pit stop for William Byron. It's been him and that pit crew. Total team effort today. Easily wins the race out of the pits. Larson with a 10.7 was 1.3 seconds slower on that stop, but he had such a big gap between himself and the rest of the field behind him that he still came out of the pits in second. Top 4 on pit road did not change positions there from where they ended at the end of stage 2. Oh yeah, I'm watching the chat. Always. Yeah, I tried to look at the chat as much as I can. When I'm commentating the race during non-commercials on green flag action, not as much, but I'll glance at it from time to time. But yeah, like during the cautions and stuff, we just haven't had many cautions today. Just the 2 stage breaks so far. We'll take another break here, and then we'll get back to the action on the other side of it. Yeah, that's the second 9.4 second pit stop Byron's had today. And I think he had a 9 point... Well, it was 9.4 during both caution stops. I don't know what he had during green flag stops, but it's been really fast, too. Obviously, he hasn't lost the lead to Larson. Even with Larson pitting a lap or 2 before him every time. Think I'm going to subscribe? You should subscribe. Never not subscribe. Helps these streams out a ton. Helps me out a ton to be able to keep doing this for you guys every single week. This is like a part-time job for me, so this is like my weekend job and then my midweek job. I switched my schedule up to get Friday, Saturdays off to be able to do the commentary for the Truck and the Xfinity series all season long this year because the plates I work at, since I started there a little over 2 years ago, I've been working every Friday, Saturday, so the only time I really get a Saturday off is if I was ever traveling, used a vacation day and traveled out to whatever NASCAR track I was going to that weekend. Thanks for subbing. So again, 20 cars on the lead lap when the final stage begins. It'll be William Byron, Kyle Larson on the front row. Byron elected the inside lane last time. I'd imagine that would be the case this time as well. Kyle Busch had an 8.6 second stop last year. Well, he only won 1 race with that fast stop, though. William Byron's had the fast stops, and he's been able to keep a great run with his fast car today, too. It's tough to beat when the driver is fast, but when the pit crew is just as fast as the driver, that's such a deadly combo. Has he led the whole race? He started second. He took the lead on lap 9, and he's led every lap other than random laps led by other drivers during green flag stops. Byron has led 159 laps out of 172 so far. So he's led all but 13 laps. Again, Logano led the first 9. Keselowski led 1 lap during green flag pit stops, and Reddick led 3 laps during green flag stops. We've had 2 sets of green flag stops on the other pit stops during the stage break so far. So percentage-wise of this race, he could pretty darn well close to lead over 95% of it. I mean, this is like a Martin Truex Jr. Coke 600 performance from a couple years ago. The only impressive thing with that is that it's an extra 200 miles compared to this race, and there's an extra stage break, so a little bit more reliant on the pit crew on a couple extra stops, and at least 1 more during cautions. Still no cautions for incidents so far, but we'll see. Final stage went caution-free in the Xfinity and the truck races at Vegas this weekend. And the Xfinity Series final stage a little bit longer than this one. That was 110 laps yesterday. Final stage of this Cup race today, 102. And we will be down to about 94 laps to go when they go green. So Kyle Busch lost a lot of time on pit road there. He falls from about 12th to 15th.
They ain't guys room. I mean, that was the right thing to do for them, but I think they start themselves by stopping deep. Do I have to? My bumper's allowed to be outside the box behind me, right? Yeah, we're going to stop you way short.
So they'll make adjustments, keep that from happening again. Here's the view we have of it.
Oh yeah, not even close. Hung out right there. Reddick was hung out way too far. Kyle Busch couldn't get out.
So William Byron again elects the inside against Kyle Larson. Bowman and Truex, Chastain and Bell, Suarez and Harvick, Hamlin, Wallace the top 10 as they approach the Geico restart zone for stage 3.
Byron again on the bottom, just as he has been all day on the restarts. Larson on the outside. The green flag is back in the air, and the final stage is underway in the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. He's got his teammate Alex Bowman on the bottom, giving him a push. Truex on the outside behind the 5 of Larson. Byron will easily pull clear off the exit of turn 2 as he's done every restart so far. 2 Hendrick Chevy side by side for second, though, of Larson and Bowman. Larson going to get another shot from behind by the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Got him a little loose getting into the corner, but it looks like he'll still be able to clear the 48 of Alex Bowman for second place. 3 wide, scramble again off turn 4 in the middle of the pack. Hamlin, Suarez, and Harvick almost making contact in the trial as the 99 nearly got squeezed between the 2 cars. Daniel Suarez trying to pull clear of both the 11 and the 4, not able to do so, and they continue to stay 3 wide on the back straightaway. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell side by side for 5th place on the track. Wallace trying to get a run off the exit of the corner, stays away from a potential side draft from Bell initially, then Bell gets back to him in the center of the front stretch. Right at about the start-finish line, deep dive going off into the corner, going to try a slide job, up the track goes Bell, not clear, almost makes contact with Bubba Wallace, and off the exit of the corner they remain side by side. Down the back into turn 3, Chastain's starting to get a run on the 20 and the 23 now. The 1 car going all the way to the outside. Wallace trying to pinch the 20 of Bell down towards the bottom again. They still remain side by side as they have been for about 2.5 laps now. Byron continues to lead though at the front of the field, 0.4 of a second quickly out ahead of Kyle Larson. Battle on the screen is for 5th between Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell. They've been side by side for about 3 straight laps now. In that 5th place position, deadlocked. Nobody really closing in behind them because Suarez has finally gotten to the inside of his teammate Ross Chastain, and now Daniel Suarez out of nowhere up to 7th. He hasn't been in the top 10 all day until now. Great restart for that 99. We'll see if he can hold this up on the long run. Looking for just his 2nd career top 10 and his 12th career start at Vegas. Almost contact on the backstretch as Bell goes up to aggressively side draft the 23. Really got as close as he could that time under that left rear corner panel of Wallace. And now sends himself into the corner, trying to clear. Bubba still not able to. Wallace getting a much bigger run off the outside, which is not allowing for Bell to be able to clear. Dives it off deep into turns 1 and 2 again. Will he continue to hang on? Suarez has definitely closed the gap in the middle. And now rides in line behind Wallace, may give Bubba a push going into turn 3. Wallace has cleared the 20 of Bell now for 5th after a battle of side-by-side action for over 4 laps. And Suarez quickly, as soon as he catches the 20, passes him the first chance he gets through 3 and 4 on the outside. And now he's going after Wallace for 5th. That 99 is a rocket ship all of a sudden after being nowhere near the front of the field all day. He's now battling Wallace for 5th. Suarez got to the inside of Wallace into turns 3 and 4. Will he be able to hold the bottom well enough? Wallace has been very tough on the outside. Suarez slides off the exit of the corner, not quite clear. Wallace having a battle again. You'd have to imagine Bubba's using his tires up quite a much with the battling he is doing. Eric Jones, Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, not the 45 anymore. Eric Jones and Tyler Reddick battling for 12th place on the track. Ryan Blaney got up to 11th on this last restart. It's the highest he has been since the very beginning of the race, despite qualifying 3rd. Suarez was able to clear Bubba Wallace off camera. 3 wide, Keselowski, Busch, Logano on the outside. In turns 1 and 2, Busch down on the white line. Keselowski trying to hang on in the middle. Still 3 wide back straightaway. Logano getting a push from his teammate Austin Cindric on the backstretch from behind. Carries that into turns 3 and 4 on the outside lane. Keselowski almost gets squeezed. Contact into the wall. Goes Logano and down into the grass. Caution's out. Our first incident of the race. Joey Logano locking down the brakes. Contact with Brad Keselowski, and into the wall he went after his former teammate got into him. Off of turn 4. All 3 former champs and veterans of the series were 3 wide off the exit of turn 4. Keselowski made contact with Logano, and into the wall he went, and then lost control off the exit of turn 4. Then after getting into the wall, tough day for Joey Logano after starting on the pole. Dropped like a rock outside the top 10. He's been running there all day. And while battling for about 13th place, he ends up in a spin off of turn 4. It definitely looked like Busch might have wiggled up the racetrack just a bit. I think he got tight, and when he came up the track, he didn't make contact with the 6, but crowded him enough that when Keselowski was going up to try to stay off the 8, that's when he got into Logano. And that just seemed like a racing deal to me. It wasn't much of a bobble from Busch, but it did look like it was enough that it squeezed Keselowski. And Brad ended up making the actual contact with Logano. Logano got the worst of it with being on the outside and the wall being right there for him. Not a lot of damage on the 22. May be able to continue. Wild ride, though, through the grass. Going over the hops and skips of the asphalt. The quarter-mile track. Down in the infield. Never really dug the splitter in, though, so that's good. Haven't seen that much out of the next-gen car. A little bit more ride height in these cars than the Gen 6 car of tomorrow era. It's got grass in the grill, I'll tell you that much. There is some damage on the right front, but most of that was after the contact with the wall. Yeah, you're right in the Chad toe link. Seems to be a problem on the rear of the race car for Logano.
It would have to pit again, even pitting here for fuel, but this may be a good time to get some fresh tires on that thing, get her full of fuel where you don't have to put as much in it near the end of this run here. Go back to my Liberty Mutual race strategy. Maybe a good time to try just right side tires if you have several at pit.
Love that, Larry. Let's shake things up. Time to roll the dice. Where we at, baby? Las Vegas.
Tough break for Joey Logano as they were 3 wide coming off the corner with Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski.
Dug in really hard on that left front. Wonder how much damage is done with the bodywork there.
All right, Regan.
More pit stops for the Hendrick cars.
He doesn't really need too much right now. Felt like they were better than the second stage where he was just a little on the tight side. The call from Cliff Daniels was to put 4 tires on it right here. And the 23 at Bubba Wallace, we just reported about how it was getting a little bit better, but the report when the yellow came out, struggling with front grip. 2 out of 5 on the number scale for him right now. Jamie?
48 of Alex Bowman, a little free over the bumps, starts to snug up a little bit as he runs a 4-tire stop here. His teammate, the 24, said he's a little bit free in 1 and 2, but it's coming to him, and he stays out. 48, good stop.
Well, you called it, Larry. Somebody was going to gamble. Who was that? Denny Hamlin wasn't scared. 2 tires.
2-tire stop for Denny Hamlin. Wins him the race off pit road. 3 spots lost for the crew that had been dominant all day, and that would be the 24 of William Byron. Bowman jumps up to second. Larson fell back a spot to third. So Hamlin will lead the field to the green. This is the first he has led today, but we'll see if the 2-tire stop will pan out versus the 4. Aman Shah, thanks for tuning in. Now, everybody pitted on the lead lap. You have to be 21 to gamble, not 18. I actually didn't know that until just a couple of years ago. I mean, I'm 23 anyway, but I didn't realize you had to be 21 to bet in casinos. Online for sports and stuff. I didn't do it before that, though, so we're okay. It wasn't legal in Ohio until, like, January 1st. I got money on Larson to win, so I'm hoping. If my guy Blaney doesn't get up there, of course, regardless of the fact he's my favorite driver, I would much rather him. I'm such a diehard NASCAR fan that I'd much rather this guy win than me win like however much money I win for Larson winning today. I think if I get my money, when I get my money back for him winning, I'm pretty sure I'd make $500 if Larson wins today. Chucky Liddell, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Byron lost 3 spots on pit road. We'll head to that restart when we come back. Again, this is our first caution for incident today after Joey Logano spins. Contact with Brad Keselowski and the wall after being 3 wide with Kyle Busch, Keselowski, and himself off of turn 4. That was about a handful of laps after the restart to stage 2. Everybody, though, did come in. Hamlin's had top 10 speed today, so it'll be interesting to see if he is actually going to be able to maintain that track position. The Hendrick cars have been so much stronger than the rest of the field, specifically the 24 and the 5. But Bowman's been right up there now after finishing 3rd at the end of stage 2. He just qualified deeper in the field, so it took him longer to get to the front. It's 18 to gamble in Michigan. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, it's 21 in Ohio. I didn't know it was different there.
To pick first this week.
Danica, I'm sorry. I love this because I get to pick first. You know who I'm going to pick. Byron. He won 3 of the prior 4 after leading over 100 laps. He is my guy. William Byron, the 24 cars going all the way.
Clint, I'm watching that 99 of Daniel Suarez. He has started 2023 with back-to-back top 10s. He only has 1 top 10 in Las Vegas, but that pit stop on lap 169, a 9.9, that's what's got him inside the top 5.
My one to watch, I'm still sticking with him, Kyle Larson. There's 80 laps to go, and if anybody's going to use the track, it's going to be Kyle Larson. I think he's going to take it on the top.
Danica, I'm going to go with another Hendrick car. The 48 of Alex Bowman 1 year ago won this race on 2 tires. He's not going to have to do that to win this year. That car is fast, and he's going to keep it up front this final stage.
It took Kevin Harvick 155 laps to make it into the top 10. Let's see what the closer has for them in this closing stage in his number 4 Ford. And remember, Clint, it's the Credit One Bank ones to watch, not necessarily the one to win.
Well, hey, once a competitor, always a competitor, buddy.
Right.
We're here to win.
Joey Logano ran out of time on the damaged vehicle policy clock, the 7 minutes, so he is in the garage, and the pole sitter is done for the day.
Dang it.
Tough day, but man, he might not be so bummed after what's been happening. So go to the drawing board, figure it out. Obviously, they got a fast car. Just got to figure out how to make it fast for the whole race.
Such a tough pill to swallow. Joey Logano sits on the pole. Was good yesterday. Wakes up this morning with huge hope, thinking you're going to dominate this race. Unfortunately, you're the first one out.
So Denny Hamlin to the inside on the choose.
Okay. We were the only taker on that little plan, but it's better than 9 spots here, clean air, so get ready for a good restart.
So that little plan being 2 tires.
Yes, sir. And buddy, you got to do something. Hey, you're not going to follow them all day long. Let's put this thing out front and see how she does.
And these are the moments, though, when you stand behind your crew chief and your crew chief stand behind the driver, and you're in it together. He's like, hey, man, look, nobody took it like we took it, but you've got to take a chance, and yeah, this will be interesting.
Pretty clear you're not going to make an adjustment in air pressure, anything you're going to find to pass that 24 in the 5, or you'd already done it. Let's make a gamble here. They did it. Let's see if it pays off. Got 3 of them Hendrick boys right on him, though. It's going to be important to get a good jump. Protect that bottom. Do not let Larson to your inside. And then try to get up in front of them down the back straightaway. Don't be door-to-door with them off the 2. That's what Hamlin needs to do.
It'll be interesting if Denny Hamlin will even have the fire off on the initial restart as they head into the Geico restart zone compared to everybody else on 4 tires. Couple Hendrick Chevys together on the outside of Bowman and Byron. Hamlin with the standing start. Green flag back in the air. Couple cars fading out wider on the outside lane just outside the top 10. Pretty calm in the front couple rows. Hamlin is all clear off the exit of the corner. Larson going to be put 3 wide middle with Truex and Bowman. Truex, after restarting inside of row 2, gets by. Hamlin on the older tires has to play defense now with Bowman coming on the outside. Larson fell back a couple spots in the middle lane, not as far back as William Byron, who was on the outside of the front row. He is all the way back to 6th after leading over 150 laps of the race, and Hamlin leads his first green flag lap of the day following the restart. Alex Bowman trying to work the outside lane, still in 2nd. Almost contact between Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson. A push coming from the 24 of Byron to the back of the 5 of Larson. 2 of the Hendrick Chevys have gotten to 2nd through 4th, but Hamlin continues to lead. 76 laps still to go. Everybody will have to make one more stop before the end of the race as well, as they're well outside the fuel window to make it to the finish. Byron battling side by side with Martin Truex Jr. for 4th on the racetrack. Byron on the outside, Truex on the bottom. Ryan Blaney back in the top 10, battling Suarez for 9th. And Kevin Harvick up as high in the running order as he has been all day, as he's side by side with Bubba Wallace for 7th. Hamlin on the bottom lane, pulls to the outside off the exit of the corner, continues to hold back Alex Bowman. Larson closing in on the 11 and the 48 as Bowman's been unable to pass the 11. Has to get around him quickly before Larson and Byron really start to close the gap. Byron has cleared Truex into turn 1 for position, and now under duress is Truex from the 1 of Chastain, who's had a pretty good short run car as well, just behind the Hendrick Chevys most of the day. He'll pass Martin Truex Jr. for 5th. Larson to the inside of Alex Bowman for 2nd place on the racetrack. Off the exit of turn 4. Slide job clear off turn 4. Larson to P2. Hamlin is out in front, but again on 2 tires. Everybody else on pit road took 4 during this pit stop set during that last caution for the Logano spin off turn 4. Larson down to the bottom lane as well as Bowman. More clean air in the front of the 5 car as Hamlin went to the middle lane that time through 1 and 2. Top 4, make that top 5, all within 1 second of the race lead. Tyler Reddick out of nowhere is inside the top 10. He rockets by Bubba Wallace on the outside lane through 3 and 4. He's up to 8th. First time he has cracked the top 10 all day today. Started 34th. No practice or qualifying for him. Big block on the front stretch by Denny Hamlin as he tries to defend on Larson. Larson gets loose in turns 1 and 2. Bobbles hangs on to 2nd but lost a little ground on the 11. And maybe burning those tires up a little too much if he tries to use them too much early in the run. He had a massive run off turn 4. Went to the apron. Hamlin went all the way down to block and barely holds on to the race lead. Another run off the high side, off turn 4 for Larson. Goes to the apron again. Hamlin doesn't go all the way down to block, but Larson will not be able to get to the lead this time. Into 1 and 2. Larson to the outside of the 11. He's there. Will he clear him by the exit of the corner, trying to get the drive off? He will not. Door to door for the lead. Back straightaway. Hamlin with the side draft. Bowman in 3rd, charging hard from behind. Larson trying to pinch the 11 into 3 and 4. Larson on the top lane of the racetrack, still not clear off turn 4. Pulling away from Hamlin, trying not to get side drafted by the car on the inside of him, but it was unable to allow himself to clear Hamlin. Hamlin overdrives the entry to 1, may have clipped the apron a little bit underneath that white line, and that is the mistake made that allows Larson to capture the lead off turn 2. First time Kyle Larson has led today with just 71 laps to go. Reddick on the outside gaining a lot on the top 5 all of a sudden. He's got a run on Byron and Truex off of turn 4. He'll get by the 19. He'll try to challenge on the 24, who goes down to the bottom. 3 wide under Chastain and Reddick. Down to the apron, what a move by Byron. He gets by the 48 and the 1, and now Reddick's in the wall in the middle of 1 and 2 after he got loose after a major one on the back of the 24 and 48. Suarez and Blaney down to the inside of the 45 as Reddick falls back to about 10th place. They're just getting up to 6th right before getting loose. And Byron, who's got the fastest car in the field, now gets to the outside of his teammate Alex Bowman. Chastain looking for a run. Byron blocks the 1 all the way up near the wall. Byron gets loose into turn 1 as he got a push from Chastain. Hamlin is now half a second behind Larson. Side by side for third still between Bowman and Byron. They're losing the 5 car. Chastain with a dive bomb into 3 and 4. Clears Truex, but has to lift as he almost made contact with Bowman. And now Harvick, the closer out of nowhere, is now looking for the top 5. He gets by Chastain after Chastain wiggled in the middle of 3 and 4. He throws a block on him on the front stretch now. Couldn't quite clear, though. Chastain on the outside of the 4 still into 1 and 2. Bubba Wallace creeping in the picture behind the 1 and the 4. Heck of a restart so far. All shaken up because of Denny Hamlin taking the 2 tires, breaking up the Hendrick Chevys. Now they're set to battle each other as Larson was the quickest to get by Hamlin and the only to get by Hamlin of those on fresh tires. 4 fresh tires. Again, Hamlin took 2, just right sides only during his stop. Bubba Wallace gets by Kevin Harvick for 7th. Blaney Suarez still battling for 10th. Blaney in deep into the corner on entry. Gets back to the throttle quicker than Suarez still and clears him for that 10th spot. I have money on him to get a top 10 today, as well as Larson to win. So I'm hanging in there right now. 66 laps to go. 0.8 of a second. Off the race lead now is Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson had a little bit of a loose moment trying to get by Hamlin as much as possible. We knew how important it was for him to get the clean air as quickly as possible with Byron and Bowman battling each other and still somewhat battling each other further back behind. Commercial break coming up here for Fox. We'll take a break ourselves and then we'll get back with the action on the other side. You're watching the Pennzoil 400 live on KRC. 97 likes. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Try to get that to 150 for the end of the race and subscribe, of course, for more daily NASCAR content. Top 10 right now, Larson in the lead. Hamlin 2nd, Byron 3rd, Bowman 4th, Martin Truex Jr. 5th, Ross Chastain 6th, Bubba Wallace 7th, Kevin Harvick 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, and Ryan Blaney is 10th. That is your top 10 currently in Stage 3. Down to just 63 laps to go during the commercial break. Craziest part of the race for sure just happened with that restart with a little less than 80 laps to go. Following the Logano caution. Logano is the only driver out of the race. Started first, he'll finish last. As they could not get that rear suspension fixed after the crash and the slide through the grass in time for the damaged vehicle policy clock, so he had to pull into the garage. That has dropped him back. So Kyle Larson with a 1 second lead. The big thing is going to be, can Byron get by Hamlin quickly and stay close? That 24 team has been fast on pit road, and on the longest run, he has been the driver to beat all day today. If he doesn't abuse his tires too much trying to pass Hamlin, we know we have one more stop left. And can Larson manage his tires well enough in the long run to try to defend on William Byron just a little bit? Byron was about a half a tenth quicker than Larson that last lap. He's still a half a second, actually a little over a full second behind Denny Hamlin. And he has already pulled away at about 9/10 of a second over Bowman during the commercial break. Bowman, about 3/4 of a second ahead of Truex, roughly. That's the top 5 right now. Byron just pit now? No, I mean, not on my end. I mean, the window is open to make it on fuel to the end of the race. So we have about 60 laps to go. It'd be a bold call. We do get pit stops. Of course, you guys will get to listen in. By the way, the free pass during that last caution was awarded to Chris Buescher. So he got back on the lead lap. .3 seconds out ahead is Larson. Consistently about a tenth and a half quicker than Denny Hamlin over the last handful of laps. If you're not first, you're last. Joey Logano, 2023 Las Vegas. Well, he was first and last in the same race. Started first, finished last. I wonder who the last driver was to start first in a race and finish last is. Here is Logano with Jamie Little.
Perspective when you were 3 wide with the 6 and the 8.
Yeah, I just got squeezed up in the wall. It's what it is. I don't know what to say about it. Just running 3 wide there for a lap and a half there. Just got squeezed up. Kind of a bummer, you know, Pennzoil 400, driving the Pennzoil car, you want to have a good run, and we just weren't real good. You know, we qualified well, obviously, and we ran around 12 most of the day, and so we missed stage points, and the bad day got worse, unfortunately. So we move on, go to the next one.
Joey Logano's 20th career start at Las Vegas, his first DNF.
It's a crazy stat there. Also, Logano was second in points just 2 races into the year. And as he mentioned, no stage points today for Joey Logano, as well as just 1 point for his finishing result. I did not take him out of my fantasy lineup for the end of stage 2 because he was actually outrunning Ryan Blaney. So unfortunately, fortunately for me, I'm only going to get 1 point out of a start for him, as is anybody else that still had him in your starting lineup in the fantasy league. Christopher Bell, I believe, had a pit road penalty during the caution. Either that or he just lost a lot of time. One way or another, he's back in the 20th place position right now, 11.5 seconds off the lead and just behind Corey LaJoie. Ryan Blaney has flipped the switch somewhat. He has gotten his race car up to 9th, and now he is working on Wallace for 8th. Battle for 11th as well on the track between Tyler Reddick and Kyle Busch. Reddick lost a lot of ground on the restart after getting into the wall after a loose moment. Through half block on Busch on the backstart, trying to play defense. Busch sends it off into turns 3 and 4, trying to get back by Reddick. Great crossover move. Busch is clear with ease off the exit of turn 4. Reddick digging on the outside, almost into the wall as he gets loose again. Reddick is just on the edge of his seat right now, just desperately trying to hang on to that race car. Second time he's got loose off the exit of a corner. That time kept it off the wall. Brad Keselowski's really fallen back. He was in the top 10 all day, now back in 15th. And AJ Allmendinger, who's been around 20th most of the race, has rocketed up to 13th on this last restart. By the way, there's been no crank it up today. This is the second week NASCAR Fox has not done a crank it up, and I'm a little concerned. They did it for the Xfinity race last week. They didn't do it this week for any series. But I do remember them doing it for the Xfinity Series last week, but they did not do it for the Cup race at Auto Club. And they have not done it for any of the 3 races this weekend. But then during Daytona Speed Weeks, they did crank it ups during the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, and in fact, they did 2 of them during the Daytona 500. So I don't know what Fox is doing with the crank it ups, why they're not doing them every race. They need to get back on that. It's like the best part of the broadcast nowadays. They're leaving out the best part of the broadcast. Doesn't make any sense. Of course, I'll let you guys listen into that stuff too when it takes place, so kind of missing out on these live commentary coverages. Well, side-by-side commercial break right now. Full field rundown quickly with 52 laps to go as Larson leads this race. He leads by 9/10 of a second over Denny Hamlin in second. William Byron is in third, Alex Bowman fourth, Martin Truex Jr. in fifth, Ross Chastain sixth, Kevin Harvick seventh, Ryan Blaney eighth, Bubba Wallace ninth, and Daniel Suarez is 10th. Kyle Busch in 11th. 12th place is Tyler Reddick. AJ Allmendinger 13th. Eric Almirola 14th. Brad Keselowski 15th. Eric Jones 16th. 17th is Justin Haley. Austin Cindric in 18th. Christopher Bell 19th. Corey LaJoie 20th. Ty Gibbs 21st. Ryan Preece in 22nd. Michael McDowell 23rd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th. Chase Briscoe 25th. Harrison Burton 26, Noah Gregson in 27, 2 laps down. Austin Dillon 28, Josh Berry 29th, Tris Busher in 30th. Todd Gilliland is 31st, 32nd is BJ McLeod, JJ Ely in 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Joey Logano 36th, rounding out the field today. Logano, the only driver out of the race, and we have 22 cars on the lead lap. By the way, Ty Gibbs was the driver who got the free pass during the last caution, not Chris Busher. Gibbs, of course, has been a lap down. Actually, Gibbs might have taken the wave around because he scored 28 seconds off the lead. Either that or he just came down to pit road. KRC should bid for now. I don't have that kind of money, unfortunately. I don't have millions of dollars to pay NASCAR. And yes, Gibbs is coming into the pits, so see him pitting right now on the side-by-side cam. So our first driver on pit road. Denny Hamlin's closed the gap on Larson as well. He's down to 0.4 of a second off the lead. Hamlin running faster laps on the racetrack than Larson, so is Byron, and Bowman for that matter. So looks like Larson is fading just a little bit over the long run. Again, he got a loose moment a couple laps into the restart trying to get by Hamlin. I think that might have burnt the rear tires off the car a little early in the run. And I do believe Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Hamlin seems to be coming into the pits this time. So here we go. The 11 trying to short pit to gain track position once again.
All right, Christopher Bell finishes his stop. Remember, he had a vibration. Denny Hamlin is now in. Regan?
Like Denny came over the radio a couple laps ago and said it's getting tighter as we run. Chris Gapehart, when he was in the middle of 3-4, said this time, they pit early. Every pit crew now getting ready to make their moves on pit road here.
Now, Hamlin was 0.4 of a second off the lead when he pits. We'll compare that once this round of green flag stops.
A little slow out of the box for Hamlin. Larson's in a lap after.
Kyle Larson on pit road. He has been very quiet, as he has been all day long, but in particular this run. The main thing he's been getting
Martin
is
Truex Jr. is also in.
Now that he's out front to save the car because it's completely different up there in terms of the wear on the tires. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 had some pretty decent stops today. He said he needs help turning through the corners and overall just needs some more front grip. Going for a 4-tire stop here as you see Kyle Busch finish his stop.
Kevin Harvick completes his service. He's out. Kyle Busch is in. Dillon is in.
William Byron, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney still all on the racetrack. They were in the top 10. Now Chastain is in. Byron's in also.
Complaints about it building a little bit too tight as they go. Jamie?
William Byron led 173 laps today. Said he's just a little bit tight there, but he was optimistic. He's going to get better as they ran. 4-tire stop here for the 24.
Tyler Reddick gets 4, and he is away.
Alex Bowman and Ryan Blaney still out on the track. Suarez, Wallace have to pit, and now Wallace and Suarez in at the same time.
Wallace, Regan.
Bubba Wallace steadily been moving forward all day long. The car is still too tight right now, though. He can't be aggressive with the front end through the corners like he wants to be.
Daniel Suarez finishing up his stop. Justin Haley in. Allmendinger in. So that will leave Bowman, Blaney, Keselowski, and Preece on the racetrack. Here's Bowman on pit road.
Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman in the pits.
Blaney with him. Regan.
Like the 12 of Ryan Blaney has been working on that car all day long. It was not good at all early. Still doesn't like it tight with the front of the race car, but they have made some steady gains. Jamie.
Alex Bowman with 48 just led his first laps of the day. That's 2 on the board for him. A 4-tire stop. Tight everywhere now. That's kind of been his complaint all day, but the car overall pretty good.
Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece on pit road. BJ McLeod. That leaves just Brad Keselowski.
You know, we're hearing everybody talking about tight, 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 tight. And this last pit stop, or you think it might be the last pit stop, it's going to be so critical for that crew chief. How big of a swing are you going to take at it? And then how aggressive as a driver are you going to convey that?
So if Keselowski can catch a caution, only 8 cars would be on the lead lap, and that is the idea behind staying out to the end of this fuel window, is hoping to catch somebody else's yellow and trap a bunch of people 1 lap down.
Absolutely, and let me, on the flip side of that conversation, Hamlin, right? Hamlin tried to short pit him a little bit, didn't gain enough. The 5 car's still out in front as far as that conversation goes. Keselowski's still your leader, but without that caution you speak of, Mike, Larson's going to assume the lead again.
And let's face it, it's probably not a good gamble. There hasn't been so many yellows.
Well, he was 15th before the pit stop cycle started. J.J. Yaley's doing a pass-through for too fast on pit road, and Noah Gregson's dash must be set differently than everybody else's as Keselowski comes to pit road because Gregson has been nabbed for speeding for the 3rd time today. Turn 2, there is Larson, threading the needle between a couple of lap cars, and he's going to be your leader.
Very tight needle. That was very tight. There's Keselowski on pit road.
Jamie?
Keselowski pitting from the lead, a 3-time winner here in Las Vegas. Day has been pretty good. He was on the free side early on in this race. 4 tire stop. You see actually a chassis adjustment it looked like they made there, and some air pressure as well for the 6th.
So he's away, pitted as the leader, and with the pit cycle complete, we should have more than 20 cars on the lead lap for this run to the finish with 40 to go.
And that caution sure helped that conversation out a lot, Mike. Without that caution coming out, giving those guys a chance to get on that lead, that take the wave around, man, save some of their days. That would be a whole different game.
So Hamlin was the first to pit in this sequence. He was 0.4 of a second back when he pitted. He is now 1.9 back after the completion of this pit stop round.
Good gamble. Good gamble.
Just not enough. There wasn't enough of a difference there in their lap times. And I think that kind of takes me back to this cloud cover, the cool conditions. These speeds are very, very fast.
Now, the one driver who really gained on this round was Christopher Bell, who had a vibration and pitted from 20th. Bell is now in 12th place. There's his number 20. He is 4th among the Toyotas, 12th overall. So with 38 laps to go, we're going to take our final side-by-side pit stop under green, with Kyle Larson leading Denny Hamlin now by 2.3 seconds.
And that is quickly growing as it looks like during the break. William Byron starting to challenge Denny Hamlin for second place. Again, Byron has been the fastest car in the field all day. Lost track position on that last restart. Trying to get it back, though, following the green flag stops. He's side-by-side with Hamlin and will clear him off turn 4 for second. He's about 2.9 seconds off the race lead. He was 0.2 of a second quicker than Larson that last lap. Can he make a run in the final 35? Larson leads the race. William Byron in second. Denny Hamlin third. Martin Truex Jr. fourth. Alex Bowman is fifth. Ross Chastain is sixth. Kevin Harvick seventh. Bubba Wallace eighth. Kyle Busch ninth. Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 10. Daniel Suarez in 11th. Christopher Bell in 12th. 13th is A.J. Allmendinger. Austin Cindric in 14th. Tyler Reddick 15th. Eric Jones 16th. Eric Almirola 17th. Ty Gibbs 18th. Brad Keselowski in 19th. Justin Haley is 20th. Corey LaJoie in 21st. Last car in the lead lap is Chris Buescher in 22nd. Ryan Preece, first car lap down 23rd. Harrison Burton 24th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th. Michael McDowell in 26th. Austin Dillon 27th. Josh Berry 28th. Briscoe in 29th. Gregson in 30th. Gill in 31st. McLeod 32nd. Ty Dillon in 33rd. J.J. Yaley 34th. Cody Ware 35th. And Joey Logano out of the race. The only driver out. Crashed off turn 4. It was the only caution for incident today after contact with Keselowski, while being 3 wide with Brad and Kyle Busch. Jeff Curry, welcome into the stream. Can all breaks be side by side? Does the network make more money? So I would have to imagine, yeah, they make probably well more money with solo ads. That's all it's about. Well, with 31 to go on our side, we will take our final break of the day. So appreciate, again, all of you tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe. We'll take you to the end. Larson out to 3.3 second lead over Byron now. all on where they catch lap traffic and who can manage their tires better over this roughly 40-lap tire stint to the end of the race from when everybody last pitted. Maybe a little more than 40 laps, but right around that. And Kyle Larson, my pick to win today's race. I might have 3 correct already to start the season. We'll see. I'll tell you what, it's making me some money on the side. I have him to win Group 1 on the betting and to win the race. And Blaney to get a top 10. He's in 9th right now, so. I think I'm supposed to make like... Let me check real quick. I'll check just to make sure how much money I have riding on this. Try not to take too much time here. I didn't mean to knock the chat off my phone. Couldn't find my FanDuel app. Little battle for third going on, though, between Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. on the racetrack. They're 5 seconds off the lead. Hamlin's losing a lot of ground following the pit stops. He was able to close on Kyle Larson. I almost wonder if they went the wrong way with an adjustment following that final stop, because with just the 2 tires, maybe it loosened the car up just enough. Could be back on the tighter side of things now because he is free falling and cannot keep up with the 24 and the 5. And the 5 with the clean air obviously pulling ahead right now, but it was Byron who dominated and was actually leading by less than this over Kyle Larson most of the race. It's the largest lead during a green flag run this entire race so far of 3.5 seconds for Larson over Byron. Checking real quick, Byron again led 173 laps, won the first 2 stages, and for the second week in a row, we might see a driver who won the first 2 stages of the race not get the race win. If Larson wins, I get 570. If he wins the Group A, which I can't remember who, I think it was Logano, Kyle Busch, and I can't remember who else was in that group. Maybe Chastain, that sounds about right. But whoever was all in that group, that would win me 222. Larson getting the top 10 would win me 81-43. And so, I mean, if Larson wins, I pretty much win all of those. And Blaney gets a top 10, 78-75. So I'm looking good today. I'll tell you that much. I am looking very good today. It's been a hot start for me. I use FanDuel. I go FanDuel and BetMGM. I just base it off of what the odds are better, but all my bets today were on FanDuel. You have to have multiple sites so you can try to play the odds a little bit better, because like BetMGM had Larson at plus 700 to win, but FanDuel had him at plus 850. So I took the FanDuel bet, obviously, because if he wins, we're going to end up winning like another... I mean, that's a $150 difference. Well, not 150. Well, if I put 100 down, but I didn't put that much down on him to win. But I mean, it's still going to end up making me probably $45 extra just by using FanDuel. Meanwhile, back to the racing action. We have 26 laps to go. Alex Bowman is now playing a little offense as he passed Martin Truex Jr. for 4th. Right before Truex was able to get by Hamlin, he failed to get around him on multiple occasions. Slowed himself in the 11 up and up for the 48 to try to get a run. And if Bowman could get back around Hamlin, we'll have Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3 at the front of the field like it's been for pretty much the entire second half of the race once Bowman got to 3rd towards the end of stage 2. 25 laps left, a 4.4 second lead. The only thing separating Larson from the checkered flag right now is a major catastrophe at the end of this race, that being a caution or just simply seeing a lot of tire fall off and a lot of lap traffic, just like we saw in the Xfinity race yesterday with Chandler Smith. The difference, though, Larson, a veteran, former champion. He's been in the situation many times. He's won cup races versus Chandler Smith, rookie in the Xfinity Series, was in his 6th career start and had never won a race before that, so he had never really been in that position. And I'm sure the pressure maybe had gotten to him just a little bit on top of all the things handling-wise with the car that might have gone away. It all factors into one. Trishan Games, thanks for tuning in. We got to crank it up, did we? With like 24 to go? If we do get to crank it up, you guys will get to listen in. They waited till 23 to go. I think they're watching the stream. They found out that I was complaining about no cranking up the last 2 weeks. We got it.
I'll get him on forward. He shocked our nose earlier and I knew he was going to happen.
There's a huge gap.
20 laps to go. Here in the Las Vegas desert, you're watching your aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering every mile and every moment on NASCAR's road to victory. Goodyear, more driven.
I'm telling you, Fox Sports knows what's up. They know I exist. They used a clip of mine in a documentary that they made for the LA Clash last season, so they know I exist. It was like a 3-second clip, but they know I exist. All right, so it's not impossible. They heard me complaining about no crank it up when we started the final stage, that they did not use one in the Cup Series last weekend. And they had so many moments to do it today. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of action through the first 2 stages. But this final stage, once we started it, the action picked up, and now it came down following the green flag pit stops to a Larson dominant show here to the end. Very 2021-like out of Kyle Larson. Without Chase Elliott in that 9 car this year, you'd have to imagine the main focus is going to be on the 5 on most weekends. And I'm just saying, this you hate to say that an injury to another driver could help to another driver's success, but you'd have to imagine that that success for Kyle Larson may come in abundance as long as Elliott is out, especially when we go to some road courses like in a couple weeks where Larson has won at in recent years with HMS. Won at Watkins Glen last couple seasons. Of course, had a win at Sonoma as well in 2021. William Byron a little bit quicker by about 1/10.5 than Kyle Larson that last lap. We are down to just 15 laps to go, though, so it's going to be really tough. He's going to have to be at least 0.3 seconds quicker a lap to catch him under green flag conditions, and he's not that much faster than Larson. So Larson may be taking care of his stuff in case we get a late race caution. That way he has at least a little something else going for him. He doesn't have to push extremely hard here. Just needs to manage that gap he has over the 24 right now. MC Videos and Colton Schwartz also welcome into the stream. Crank It Up was killing. That ant is long gone. He made a return middle of stage 1, but I finished the job. He's deceased now. He didn't get the burial at sea, though. He didn't deserve it. He bothered me more than once. One time I probably would have given him the burial at sea. I didn't give him the burial at sea, though, for the second time. So Logano's still the only driver out of the race to this point. Cody Ware's 12 laps down in 35th, but still in the race. Byron about 0.4 quicker than Kyle Larson that last lap. Larson a 39. Byron just ran one of his fastest laps of the race, by the way. 30.543. The fastest laps of the run, I should say. His fastest lap of the race is 29.3 when he was leading, had the clean air back at lap 175 towards the end of stage 2. But Larson back in that pace off maybe a little too much too early here. Some of it could be lap traffic. He's catching up to drivers at the tail end of the field again. Corey LaJoie about to go a lap down. Ty Gibbs at the tail end of the lead lap, as well as Eric Jones. No, Jimmy Johnson's not racing today. Hot Wheels Vet 95, thanks for tuning in. Ty Gibbs, last car in the lead lap. LaJoie just went a lap down to Larson, and now Gibbs on the outside, steering clear. Tough break for Gibbs because he had a fast enough car that maybe could have gotten his way up there. He didn't get back on the lead lap until this last caution. And it was because I believe he took the wave around. Let me check real quick. But yeah, he took the wave around, so he would have been on older tires on the last restart. Larry, don't talk about your trends. Don't do it. I got a lot of money riding on this, Larry. Don't screw it up for me, Larry. 3.1 second lead now for Larson over Byron. Down to 9 laps to go. Next time by. Larson's picked up his pace just a little bit. Byron just a little less than 1/10 of a second quicker than Larson at last lap. Truex actually had the fastest lap that last time by a 37. Larson a bit quicker than Byron, though, that last lap. Now Larson still staying in the 39s, and Byron ran a 31 flat. Hamlin similar time to Larson. 3 seconds off the lead still is William Byron. Pick Larson in the pole. Nice, nice. Yeah, surprisingly 19% did. Especially considering we had that pole up through the end of stage 2. Okay, so Cindric got the free pass during the last caution for the Logano incident. He has made his way up to 14th. Last car in the lead lap is Eric Jones and AJ Allmendinger. Few seconds still ahead of where Larson's at on the track right now. Byron picked the pace back up to a 30.673 that last lap, another 0.2 of a second quicker than Larson, but it's going to have to be even quicker than that to catch him, though, to the end of this race. He's picked up the pace here late, but I think Larson may be just kind of coasting it, managing that gap, managing his tires, trying not to make a mistake, because he's not allowing Byron to get extremely close here at the very end. Martin Truex Jr. battling back with Alex Bowman for 4th place on the racetrack. Bowman caught past him a while ago. Couldn't get around the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and now the 19 and the 48 are battling again. Tyler Reddick moving up in front of Christopher Bell for 12th place. Best run of the year for Reddick, even though it was kind of mediocre at best. Got into the top 10 for a very brief moment on that last restart before getting loose up into the wall. But his speed is pretty much climaxed right around the 12th to 13th place position most of the day, where he is running anyway after starting 34th due to an engine change in practice yesterday afternoon. 2.7 seconds is the difference at the start-finish line now. 6 laps to go for Kyle Larson. $20 if Hamlin gets a top 5. Well, there you go. See, you're hoping for this thing to stay green, too. I'm content with Blaney finishing 8th. He got my top 10. 5 laps to go at the start-finish line for Kyle Larson. 2.4 second lead. Byron another 0.3 quicker that last lap. He's going to have to be a half a second quicker a lap, though, to still catch Kyle Larson. And that is just not going to happen. Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher. Not sure exactly why they're showing them on track right now. One of them's 2 laps down, the other one's 1 lap down. Right in front of Bubba Wallace, who is trying to keep Chastain behind him, so that could be some of the reason. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. Pretty close. Truex's pace has really picked up over the last handful of laps. Kyle Larson up the middle, splitting the gap between Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse. A little less than 2 seconds now ahead of Byron. Eric Almirola's just cracked the wall off turn 4, and the caution flag is out with 4 laps to go. Larry and follically challenged. Caution flag is out for Eric Almirola getting into the wall at turns 3 and 4. He got really sideways, backed it into the outside wall, corrected it fairly quick. It's questionable whether that should have been a caution. If they threw the yellow right away, which I don't know what the timing of it was, if they threw the yellow right away, I think it was a good call because he was pretty far sideways. He corrected it fairly quickly, but when you're that far sideways and the fields as spaced apart as they are, you don't know if he's going to go all the way around. So if they caught it right away, they threw the caution, it was the right call. But we are going to be headed to overtime here, and now the decision is to pit or not to pit for everybody on the lead lap. I think you have to stay out, keep the track position personally. I mean, Denny Hamlin, granted, was on 2 tires rather than right sides earlier. Man, this is a tough decision for crew chiefs. We've seen this situation in years past, and it just seems to be that the call to stay out is the best one. Drivers and teams that have pitted in this situation in recent years have not gotten the win. You look back to Las Vegas last season, there was a late caution with 2 or 3 laps to go in the race. So Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch were battling for the win. They both pitted, and they never got back to the lead. It was Alex Bowman who ended up pitting for 2 tires that ended up making the pass for the win at the end of the race, and not the drivers who took 4. So you have to put that into play. Alex Bowman and Ryan Blaney, similar situation back at Vegas again in 2021. They also pitted early in the race. It might actually, I think it was 2020, not 2021. In 2020 in the spring race at Vegas, it was Blaney and Bowman battling for the win late. Bowman was, I think Blaney was leading, Bowman was second. Caution came out, similar situation, few laps to go. They decided to pit. A lot of other cars stayed out. And I think Blaney actually ended up finishing like 10th or something like that. He ended up in the back half of the top 10 after him and Bowman dominated. They both won stages in that race. So if you are the leaders, my personal call, you have to stay out. You have to stay out if you're Kyle Larson, William Byron. You will not win this race if you pit. And it might be a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, but you have to stay out. You have to stay out. Kyle Larson coming in. Byron comes in. A lot of cars in. Truex stays out. Everybody is in except for the 19.
Very calm, cool, and collected with that race car. Kyle has been silent. He doesn't say a word on the radio that run or the run before that. And the 11 of Denny Hamlin, too tight with that race car right now. Just needed a little bit.
2-tire stop for Kyle Larson.
Well, it was a 2-tire stop in this very similar situation a year ago when the 48 won the race. You saw him just come in. The 24 of William Byron is in as well. Good fast stops, Mike.
And at the line,
Byron wins the race off pit road by a nose over Kyle Larson. Right sides only for most of the cars that did come into the pits. Byron by a nose wins the race off of the pits. He had a better pit stop selection towards the exit of pit road, which allowed him to maybe have that little bit of an advantage over the 5. I'm not sure what the pit stop times were for both of them. Go Boom, thanks for tuning in. Truex is the only driver that stayed out of the pits, I do believe. I don't think anybody else stayed out. I said Byron and Larson weren't going to win if they pitted. They pitted. They took 2 tires. Now, they were lucky that everybody else behind them except for Truex pitted because they'll be 2nd and 3rd on the restart. So they still have a shot at this one. But Truex, I mean, I don't blame Truex for staying out there. Everybody else took 2, so if he pitted, he was going to come out 3rd or 4th. Now he's in the lead. And we saw Denny Hamlin when he restarted in the lead on old tires earlier in the day. 2 versus 4 for everybody else. He got to the lead, and it took about 5 to 10 laps for Larson to get around him. Truex only has to hold on for 2 laps. Try not to spoil it in the chat as much as you can for those of you that are watching this stream and are unable to watch the race. And the commentary here on the YouTube side of things, what you are hearing from me is going to be slightly delayed from what you might be seeing on TV. Just over 250 people watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal is 150 likes on the stream today. We are currently at 115, so smash the like button if you haven't already. And again, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live race commentary streams every weekend. Cup, Xfinity, Truck. We just had our most watched Xfinity race live stream yesterday. And we're about to watch a thriller of a finish here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And I can guarantee you that there will be a highlight video up later tonight from this restart with my commentary at the end of the night. Ryan Blaney lost time on pit road, by the way. He's 13th. He was in 8th. I might lose $80 on him. And if Larson doesn't win this, that's going to cost me like $570. Well, it's not going to cost. I didn't put that much, down to bet on Larson to win. But I'm just saying, if the caution didn't come out, I would have won like over $700. Instead, now it's... Why? Why, Eric Almirola? Why? Into the choose cone. Martin Truex Jr. elects the bottom lane on the restart. That has been the lane that Hamlin restarted on the older tires, got to the lead. And really every restart, the control car has been on the inside. And they have gotten to the lead every single time. The outside lane car in the front row has not. Byron does have 2 tires versus Truex's none, though, so that could be the difference maker. We'll have to wait and see. So Truex on the inside of row 1, Byron on the outside of row 1, Larson and Hamlin in row 2, Chastain and Bowman in row 3. It's a risky call for Martin Truex Jr., but honestly, as long as he doesn't fall outside of the top 5, it's going to end up being a good call because he was running 4th when the caution came out anyway, 4th or 5th. I think Bowman might have passed him for 4th, so he was in 5th. You're not... This is the one chance to win the race. Win and you're in the playoffs. Remember, Truex missed the playoffs last year due to not having a win because we had 14 different winners in the regular season that made the playoffs. And Truex barely missed out on points. 15, yeah, my bad. Because Blaney was the only driver that actually qualified for the playoffs without a win last season. So Truex knows how important this win is. James Small knows how important it is, and that's why he made the call he did. To the Geico restart zone, potentially for the last time. Our first attempt at a green-white checker finish is underway. Green flag back in the air. Truex gets a shot from behind from Kyle Larson on the inside. Larson gonna get put 3 wide in the middle now as Alex Bowman challenges to the outside of the 1 and the 48. Hamlin threw a bad block on Denny Hamlin. Both cars go up the track and they're 4 wide on the back straightaway. Byron, who led over 150 laps in the race, side drafts Martin Truex Jr. Truex can't hang on the old tires. Byron to the lead off turn 4. Kyle Larson dives to the bottom underneath Truex on the front stretch as he side drafts Alex Bowman. Byron leads, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. 4 wide in the tri-oval, further back, heading into turn 1. Will they make it? Cindric makes a dive bomb move, passes everybody to his outside. Truex puts Alex Bowman in the wall off turn 2 as he slid up the track, couldn't hang on. Larson's up to second, crash at the back of the pack. Allmendinger has spun. They're racing to the checkered flag right now, no caution yet. Off of turn 4, William Byron will capture the checkered flag. Larson holds on for second with a big block on Bowman. And this race will finish under green, and William Byron, after dominating the race, lost the lead late to Larson, has come back with a late race yellow to take the lead in overtime and win at Las Vegas. Larson second, Bowman third, Wallace fourth, and Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5. Allmendinger and Priest wrecked at the back of the field off of turn 2. There was no caution on the final lap, so the field was not frozen there. Race did end under green. And William Byron was the first of those on the fresher tires to get by Truex. He was on the outside of the front row in the restart. Truex held on strong for about 3/4 of a lap, but once they got into turn 3, the older tires didn't prevail. Truex fell all the way back to 7th on the final lap of the race. He was 2nd at the line. You'll get to hear post-race interviews from all the top finishers. We'll go through the full field finishing order in our post-race show here, so stick around and go through to see how the fantasy team did today, which I don't think did so hot, but I'm in a little bit of a loss for words. Byron deserved to win this race. He led so many laps. Larson beat him late in the final stage, pit stops in the final sequence. And I had so much money right in my hands if he would have won. That's a killer. I mean, that is a killer for me. I got something out of it. Ryan Blaney did not get a top 10, so I also lost money there. He was in 8th before the caution, ended up 13th. I think I got something for Kyle Larson winning Group A, and that was it. And getting a top 10. I definitely got something for him getting a top 10, too. But, oh, man, that's tough for me. That is hard to swallow. Here's William Byron, your race winner of the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas.
That's true.
That's just a product of this day and age, right? There's so much more computer games and there's so much more realistic, but that's an interesting transition to go from using your fingers on a remote to driving the actual car.
And it is the third 1-2-3 finish for Hendrick Motorsports in the Cup Series. Jamie Little.
William Byron absolutely dominated the day, swept the stages, gets the win. I know a lot of people look at this first 1.5 mile track to look forward to the rest of the season. What did that performance say to you, this team, and your fans?
Yeah, just been really confident about it. The group of guys that I have on this 24 team, they work extremely hard, and we spent a lot of time in the off season just going through, running at the sim with Chevy and running on iRacing and just trying to get better as a race car driver and as a team. So it's all about the team. So it's a great pit crew. Thinking of Chase back home. Wish he was out here with us. He's a great race car driver, great teammate. So wish he was out here, but thankful to Mr. H, Jeff Gordon. I know he's watching, and this RaptorTough.com Chevy was awesome. I mean, honestly, when we got back in traffic, it was a little bit tight, but we knew we had speed, so we just had to have the right things play out, and Rudy made a good call, so it was good.
Great battle with your teammate Kyle Larson. Then you guys decide to come down and pit. You mentioned your pit crew; they were lights out all day. What do you have to say about them and that call to come down and take two?
Yeah, honestly, the one pit stop that they had that we lost the lead, I slid through the box or slid long, and that delays the stop. So that was on me, and I knew they could get it done at the end. And Rudy's been under the weather all day. He's got the stomach bug, so he's been really quiet on the radio. But luckily it worked out there. And just thanks to all the fans for coming out. Always love racing in Vegas, how you move around, and excited for the year.
All right, William Byron, your winner in Las Vegas.
Had the best car all day, led 176 laps of this race. Regan
with Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, William Byron's teammate, comes home second today. Looked like you had this thing pretty much in hand and under control. What were the thoughts when that caution came out with 2 laps to go?
Damn. But it's just, it's just part of Cup racing. It seems like count the laps down, lap by lap, and then sure enough, the yellow lights come on. So. Yeah, you just got to get over that and then try to execute a good pit stop. And I thought I did a really good job, getting to my sign and getting to the commitment line. I had a gap, to William behind me, and their pit crew must have just did a really good job and got him out in front of us, and that gave up the front row to us. So I knew I was in trouble with the 19 being on, staying out. I felt like William was going to get by him, and so yeah, just. Bummer that we didn't end up the winner, but all in all, William probably had a little bit better car than I had today, and their pit crew executed when they needed to there at the end.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Regan. 0.6 of a second better was Byron's pit stop. Here's a look at the restart. Byron out front because of that quicker pit stop. Martin Truex did not stop and was good for a lap, but the Hendrick cars were better.
That is a fair point, though. Byron by a nose won the race off pit road. That could have been Larson on the outside lane for the restart. Just a little bit slower than that 24 team in the pits, and just enough allowed Byron to get that outside lane. And after 3/4 of a lap, was able to clear Martin Truex Jr. and coast to the checkered flag on the final lap of the day. Go through the full field finishing order here. 0.6 of a second margin of victory today for William Byron over second place Kyle Larson. Alex Bowman finished third. Bubba Wallace fourth. Christopher Bell ended up fifth. Austin Cindric made a 4-wide pass on the last lap going into turns 3 and 4 to move himself up to 6th. Good finish for the sophomore driver there. Martin Truex Jr. fell on the last lap from 2nd all the way back to 7th. Justin Haley gets a top 10 on that late race restart out of nowhere as well, moving himself up to 8th. He was around 20th all day. Kevin Harvick ended up finishing 9th, and Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Denny Hamlin fell back to 11th. Ross Chastain at 12th. Hamlin threw a block on Chastain initially on the restart in turns 1 and 2, and they were getting up to speed, and both cars got freight trained on the outside. Ryan Blaney fell back to 13th. He was in 8th when the caution came out. Kyle Busch ended up 14th. He lost some spots on that last restart. Tyler Reddick 15th. Eric Almirola 16th. Brad Keselowski in 17th. AJ Allmendinger 18th. And Eric Jones 19th. I think Allmendinger, Almirola, and Keselowski got a piece of that accident on the backstretch because they all finished more than 15 seconds off the race lead. And then Eric Jones ended up 19th as well, tail end of the lead lap. Corey LaJoie finished a lap down in 20th. He was the first car lap down. Chris Buescher 21st. Ty Gibbs in 22nd. Ryan Preece 23rd. I definitely know he got a piece of that last wreck. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th. Michael McDowell 25th. Harrison Burton 26th. Austin Dillon 27th. Chase Briscoe 28th. Josh Berry 29th. And Noah Gragson had a plethora of speeding penalties today. I think he had like 3 of them. Finished 2 laps down in 30th. Ty Gillen 31st, BJ McLeod 32nd, G.G. Yaley 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Joey Logano wrecked early in the final stage, was the only driver that DNF'd, 88 laps down and 36 for him. 271 laps today, 1 overtime finish. We went just past the scheduled distance. Pretty short race, though, 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 34 seconds. 142.21 miles per hour is the average race speed. And we had William Byron leading the most laps today by far, 176 laps led. He swept the stages, won the race at 7 playoff points and a max points day of 60 points towards the regular season standings as well. Kyle Larson was leading late when the caution came out with just 3 laps to go in this race, setting up that first and only overtime finish. Larson led 63. He had gotten to the lead on the final second to last restart after the Logano crash. Was pretty tight battle with Hamlin and Byron for the lead until after green flag pit stops. He just started pulling away after that. They made the right adjustments to that race car, but the late race caution took him out of a shot of winning. Alex Bowman led a couple laps. Martin Truex Jr. led those 3 laps between the caution laps leading up to the restart. Denny Hamlin led 10 laps today. Tyler Reddick led 3 during green flag pit stops. Keselowski led 5 during green flag pit stops, and Joey Logano led the first 9 laps of the race today from the pole, before, of course, finishing last. No stage points for Logano, I do believe, as well. So we had a total of 8 different drivers lead today for a total of 14 lead changes, and we had 4 cautions, just 2 for incident, both in the final stage of the race, which is the reason why this race ended up timing in at well less than 3 hours. So, again, a pretty quick race there. We will take a look at the fantasy team next. Well, first, actually, we got to go through my predictions for the start of the race today. William Byron got the win. I didn't have him on the fantasy team, but Kyle Larson, he was my pick to win the race. He was one of the must-haves. I mean, if it wasn't for the caution, he would have won, and I would have gotten that right. But he does end up finishing second, so he did prove me right in that aspect. So I got something for him getting top 10 finish at the very least. Ross Chastain, who was running pretty much 3rd through, 7th all day, he fell back on that last restart to 12th after Hamlin blocked him. And unfortunately, he was one of the must-haves, so I was wrong on that prediction. And then Logano was one of the must-haves, got in a late race wreck. But I was kind of wrong on the prediction leading up most of the day because he was outside the top 10 all day long despite qualifying on the pole as well. So 1 for 2 this week on the must-have predictions, but I think that makes me 7 for 10 total on the year, so still pretty good there. The don't-have predictions, drivers I predicted did not get top 10 finishes by the end of the race at the very least, one of which at least I got right with him having a block that went wrong on a restart. Denny Hamlin finished 11th. Qualified outside the top 10, so I got my prediction right there for one of the don't haves. He did score pretty good stage points today, had a good points day, but my prediction was still right. It goes off the finish. So, got that one right. Chris Buescher finished 21st, a lap down, got that one right. And then Daniel Suarez just got a top 10 on that restart. He was outside the top 10 pretty much all day. There was one restart he got up to like 5th randomly and then fell backwards after that. And then I think before that last caution, he was like 10th, I believe, right behind Blaney. So he kind of stayed 10th on the last restart. Got passed by some guys that were behind him, passed some guys that were in front of him. Ended up net gaining 0 on that last restart. So he gets a top 10, his second of his career at Las Vegas, and his first with Trackhouse, and his 5th start there with the team. So 2 for 3 on the don't haves, 1 for 3 on the must haves, 3 for 3 total on the predictions. There were no sleeper picks for today. So I split 500. Here's Alex Bowman with Jamie Little.
Through that last restart, looked like you may have had a chance there.
Yeah, for sure. I think I got us too tight in stage 3 and just try to be really aggressive and make up for it there in that last restart. And yeah, I had a shot at it, just a couple rows too far back to start. But really proud of Hendrick Motorsports to be 1-2-3 is really awesome. Our Ally Camaro was really good, especially stage 2. Just asked for the wrong adjustments probably. So just excited with the way the year started, and hopefully we keep the momentum rolling next week at Phoenix.
And Alex Bowman goes to his home track in Phoenix next week.
So, quick update on the fantasy team. As far as the bonus picks go, I only got 10 bonus points today. I had Larson beating Chastain. I lost the other ones. I had Blaney beating Hamlin. Lost to him by 2 spots. Truex, I had him beating Bell. Had it till he didn't on the final restart. And then Logano crashed out in that final stage, so Kyle Busch beat him in that head-to-head. I did not get Harvick into my lineup before the start of the final stage, so I got stuck with Logano, who didn't get any stage points and finished last, so he only got 1 point there, fortunately for me. So not good there. Blaney just outside the top 10, no stage points also, so not great there. Larson finished second, 18 stage points, pretty good. Busch only had 2 stage points outside the top 10, and Chastain had a lot of stage points, did not finish in the top 10, so mediocre day at best for me on that side of things. Here's Bubba Wallace with another post-race interview with Regan Smith.
And ended up with a good top 5 run.
Yeah, no doubt. I love coming here to Vegas. I really thought we had a much better car than what we had in the race from practice. Just couldn't get the front end to work for whatever reason. We tried everything, going the other way on air, going the opposite way on air, and just could never figure it out. So we got a lot of work to do for our mile-and-a-half stuff. But all in all, solid day. Happy for our Columbia Toyota Camry TRD team. Never stop fighting. You never give up. I almost come to the radio. I was like, hey, good job. You finished 6th. And the caution came out, and I'm like, perked up again and got some.
Thanks, Bubba.
Love that smile on the face, right? When you.
Not an Elliott fan ends up getting the win at Las Vegas for this year's regular season edition of the race on the Fantasy League. Ended up with 220 points total. I want to see who he had on his team. He had Ross Chastain, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, and Alex Bowman. So credit to him for winning Logano in his garage. So good thing he put him in there before the final stage. And as for the bonus points go, he got 20 bonus points versus my 10. So he ends up winning this week. We'll go through the rest of that order after Regan Smith interviews Christopher Bell.
Tight, vibrating wheel at one point during the race, still get out of here with a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the finish of that ended up about as good as we could have asked for with the Sirius XM Camry, and I don't know, really up and down, strange day for us because we took off and I felt extremely good and drove right to whatever it was, top 5, and I didn't feel like I had anything for the Hendrick cars, but it seemed like we were kind of best of the rest, and then lost the handle on it.
Thanks, Christopher.
Seemed a little disappointed, but a top 5 day nonetheless for Christopher Bell. Ran there for really most of the races, running 4th through 6, so solid run for him. P-Shat Motorsports finishes second this week with 210 points. War Given Buckeye Racing Team ends up with 192 and third points, tied for third actually with Sauce Mafia and Austin Dillon fan. And then Michael K. Pate ends up finishing in 5th this week with 185. I was 12th with 150. So I won the Daytona 500, and then I think I finished 12th 2 weeks in a row now, actually, in the league. So overall standings coming into the week, obviously that's not right. League standings coming into the week. Penske fan 12 was out ahead with 381 points. Not Elliott fan with 376 was in second. Colt Thompson in third with 367. EC23 364. Derek Booth at 352 in fifth. I don't think any of those, actually not an Elliott fan won, so he'll probably end up being in the lead. But everybody else in the top 5 ended up not finishing in the top 5 this week, so the leaderboard's going to change quite a bit. And then I was 7th, coming in with 322, and I ended up finishing 12th, so I'll probably move backwards also. But I don't know if I'll move backwards because I beat a lot of guys that were ahead of me, but I also got beat by a lot of guys that were behind me. So I think that's really going to tighten the standings up even more after our third race. Again, you can join on the NASCAR mobile app or website. It's free to join. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season, excluding the Daytona 500. If you win the regular season or playoff championship, you automatically qualify for the playoffs. So if you have not joined, be sure to do so. Again, when you go, there will be a quick link section. You hit Fantasy Live, and then you sign up with your email again, and then search for KRC League, KRC in all caps, space, capital L on League. I'll put it in the chat real quick, but that is the title, KRC League. So appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hit the like button if you haven't done so yet already on the stream. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Highlights from today's race will be up on the channel later today with my commentary covering it, as we have 138 likes here towards the end of the stream, so very close to 150. We'll see if we can get there before the end. But thanks for everybody watching. It was a great week. We had our most viewed Xfinity race ever on the channel yesterday, and we'll see what will happen next weekend. Phoenix. I'll check the start times real quick for that, actually, before I end the stream. But live commentary for the Xfinity and Cup races next week. Truck Series is off, so it's just Saturday, Sunday next week. I gotta log out of this. I think I gotta get completely out. Gives you an extra few moments to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Hit them both. Let's see here. Schedule. Obviously, know they're at Phoenix. Finishing off the West Coast swing next week. Our Cup Series race commentary will start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so all of our start times out west have been the same. So 3 p.m. Eastern Standard start time next week for the live stream. On Sunday for the Cup race, the United Rentals Work 500 at Phoenix. And then the Xfinity race on Saturday. Our start time will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so same start time it was this weekend as well. So that will be it, 4:30 Saturday. And then 3 o'clock on Sunday. Don't forget, for those of you in states that have to change your clocks back in the U.S., there will be a time change next weekend also. So that Sunday race will come an hour sooner than what you would think it would. Regardless of the fact, though, it's still at 3 is when we'll go live. Can't wait for it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Like, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, and I will see you guys next weekend. For those of you who I won't see next weekend, maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be doing a NASCAR 22 Bristol night race live stream, so tune in for that one as well. My pocket got hit hard on this one today, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. Larson was my pick to win. I had so much money, and that caution came out. And I had Blaney finishing in the top 10, and he fell back to 13th from 8th on the last restart. It just all went kaplooey in the final restart there, unfortunately for myself. But needless to say, I had a lot of fun as usual. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your weekend.